Introducing PubCoin. PubCoin is the rewards program for pub sports contributors. Regular chat contributors share their play of the day, POD, in the YouTube chat, including the phrase POD in their message. At the end of the week, the amount of units earned are converted into PubCoins. PubCoin can be used as reward points for prizes, shop discounts, and contests.
Hey, what's going on, y'all? It's Mills here, Pub Sports Radio. Do you guys want to challenge the personalities here at Pub Sports Radio? Do you guys think you're better than them at entering in your MMA predictions and picks? Would you want to get paid for it? $100? Here's how you do it, man. You sign up right here at the link below. It's just this easy. PubSportsRadio.com. Enter your email. Pick your weekly picks. That's it. Oh, and you get bonus points if you can predict how they're going to win in what round. Every single week, a new winner's getting crowned. So every Saturday on Pub Sports Radio. So come on and check us out. You can win $100 just for signing up. Only thing you need to do is see if you can beat us here at Pub Sports Radio by entering your UFC predictions and picks weekly. Do it. I dare you. See you guys soon.
Your membership to Gold, you will be automatically entered in every horse race, every Wednesday and Friday. It is time to race horses. We are racing camels today.
Shout out to the Gold members. We're racing in San Antonio immediately here. And we're off. 2 minutes, 74 canals on this racetrack. It's wide. We're racing in San Antonio.
Pat Wally moving forwardly. Jeff Slaughter in the mix as well. And as is Randall Sheffield, who's put that beautiful nose out front.
But it's actually real grass here, Jimmy. Maybe Kentucky bluegrass. Oldie, no! There he goes. There he goes. Oldie in the lead now. K. Wolf falls back. The horses love it. Sometimes they stop and eat it on the way to the finish line. That's why your horses start so far in the back. Here. Oh, look at Nussflush Allen bursting out here. J-Dub in the mix. Rude Boy up here as well. Jimmy, take it away.
There's Oldie. Oldie is moving to the front. We are past the halfway mark in our 2 mile. And there's Ricky Levy.
Oh my goodness, he's in the mix here. Jimmy, take it home. This is our first dog race ever.
19 seconds left in the horse race here. It's Fernando Mendoza trying to find the wire. 14 seconds left. Can Fernando Mendoza take this home? Here comes Kenny Can. Kenny Can wants a piece of the pie. Put his schnoz up front. Ricky Bobby, 9 seconds left. Can Donut Silks make a run? Can Res Mall make a run to be $50?
You son of a bitch!
Here comes Tori Coker. Kenny Can Smoke and Mirrors. Director 97 home. That is way. Here comes Jason Meyer, the Eldorado custodian. Billy Friedrich. Joe's one. They're all coming down to the finish.
Coin! Fired! Nowhere!
Oh no! Fanatical Jim!
From the corporate Peter Low Shack, legendary sports handicapper, more dapper than a dom. Father young phenom, known as Jimmy, who declared one day that the bag was here to stay. Information like a PSA, when we all PSR Pub Sports Radio bizarre. Is a man named Slaughter and he flipped the script. No competition in this they quit the trip. But we say we be pubbing, better with the bag and you love it. You want a top 10, we above it.
Yes. Welcome in Betting with the Bag. My name is Jose Bouquet. Jimmy will be here in just a second. It's nice to see everyone early in the chat here. And look who it is. It's old Jimmy the Bag joining us, coming off a heater.
I'm not coming off of a heater.
Well, you came off of a nice NHL day, I should say. But Jimmy, could you move your bottom computer for us a little bit?
Yes.
That would be great. Thank you very much. How are you doing?
Well, I'm bad. I'm rushing to get my Grizzlies action in it. Rushing to make sure that it's in. I got a bunch of NHL action. I just wanted to get the Grizzlies action in, and it's just moved against me. Like as soon as I press the button, it's moved against me, which is extremely frustrating. But it's great to see everybody. How are you doing, Jose?
I'm doing lovely. It's nice to see everyone in the chat bright and early. Our guy Truth Teller, welcome back, Truth Teller. Justin McKelvey, of course, dropping his stacks plays of the day in here, and we'll shout those out real quick. Cleveland -10 there. Cleveland, let us know, Justin, if that's Cleveland State. The Cavaliers, let us know there. Nebraska as well, +4.5. An early mention for our guy Stacks.
Stacks.
Shout out to him.
Yes, shout out to him. Shout out to all of you guys. Sorry, a little flustered. So many games to cap, and we made a couple changes about 2 hours ago to extend college basketball a little bit here. So speaking of that, can you tell Darryl to push back 15 minutes? His call time will be 10:15 a.m. Pacific time, 10:15 a.m. Pacific time. If you could do that for me, that would be very helpful. Shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Sorry, I'm a little flustered. I cannot believe the Grizzlies action. I'm rushing to get it in, and it moves. I mean, it's just. I mean, if I had to just not rushed. I mean, if I had just taken a step back in a second, I got crushed in NBA last night. Absolutely stabbed in the larynx. It was extremely upsetting. Just destroyed in NBA, which takes the shine off of sweeping the board in NHL. Also 5 and 6 in college basketball. So I gave back some, not all, but some of the cash that I'd made on Tuesday. And I made a lot on Tuesday, so it sucks giving it back. A shout out to all the cappers in the chat. Justin McKelvey, Stacks plays of the day are in. Thank you, Jose, for holding down the fort off the top. I cannot believe I rushed for that. I mean, that's just as frustrating as anything gets. Truth Teller ready to get to work. Great to see you, Truth Teller. Wonderful news about you and your property, my friend. Excited for you. Excited for you, and can't wait to hear all the great things that you do over the next a little while. We got Slow Jams Arsenal in the house. Lex Steele, Nathan Bayer, Serious Business, Slow Jams Arsenal, Ron Lofton, Morgan Spooner in with his college basketball action. I've only moved on one spot in college basketball, and that's Kennesaw State. I've bet Kennesaw State. So Kennesaw State's locked and loaded. We have a huge show today. We have a big NHL card. Then we roll into college basketball. I have 11 games for Bobano, mid-major type games. And then we move into our guy, Daby Cab, for the big ones. And Daby Cab coming off sweeping the board. Wine Time Sports coming off 4-2 day in NBA last night. I got absolutely destroyed. Slatsy says Marc-Andre Fleury plays his final game in his hometown Montreal tonight. Wow, they're 9-1 last 10 versus the Habs, but on the back-to-back, Bell Center will be buzzing. Daddy Beats in the house. Kelly McInnes, thank you guys all for joining us. Nate Dog 420, man, I gotta miss you, man. I've been meaning to get in touch with you. Apologies on my end there. So yes, yesterday was very, very upsetting. But if I had moved on my 2 leans in the NHL on top of my 3 bets, I would have gone 5-0 on a 5-game card. I capped that very well. Now, this is the 3rd time that I've gotten to this point where I'm a taint hair from the black on the season. And the first 2 times, I think it's actually the 4th time. The first 3 times I've fallen off in a big way. So it's a very important day for me to deliver in NHL. And I really like the NHL card, and I expect to do just that. Let me get Ron Crawford's plays of the days in Tampa, Portland, and Seattle in college basketball. Seattle U. I cannot believe that Grizzlies line. All the rushing. I'm like, let's just get this in. So frustrating. Fernando Mendoza saying John Morant is probable. I thought John Morant was all good here in this one. I mean, he's not even listed on the injury report unless unless that is changed. I mean, he's not even listed on the injury report, but okay. All right. Well, it's great to see all of you guys. Let's get right to work. We have a huge card, and I really want to take advantage of Bobano being here. I want to take advantage with as much time as possible. And he's already backstage and ready to rock. So sorry about being a little flustered. You know, there's two things that happen here. One, I need to be able to give you guys as much information as possible. But two, I also need to get my action in. And it's a battle at times, and that was and I apologize for being a couple minutes late here to start off with the show. But I'm excited to rock with you guys. Let's get right started here. Don't forget, though, anybody in the Texas area, we have our big Alamo card show this weekend. Vince Young is going to be there. Jose is going to be there. Jeff Slaughter is going to be there. Victor, Big T. There's going to be a lot of us there. So if you're in the Texas region, please support. There's also 2 tables, I believe, left. It's 98% sold for the table. So if anybody's looking for tables, just email us at pubsportsradio@gmail.com. All right, let's get to work here in NHL. We have a lot of work to do. Again, coming off the board sweepage last night in NHL. Thank God. Canucks, I told you guys. That's as adamant as I can be. I watch every second of them playing hockey. We were ahead of the market when we were fading them every game. And I told you guys, we're ahead of the market backing them every game. We back them again in Dallas on Friday, which will be very uncomfortable. And we probably wait, because that line's probably going to move heavily towards Dallas on Friday. Panthers -1 was very easy. And Wild money line was very easy. Let's get to work here, folks, and deliver in NHL. Please welcome the star of the Ice Guys to help us break down NHL. Then we'll roll into college basketball. Also the star of the Hitting the Books YouTube channel, as well as the NBA OG show. Please welcome our friend, Mr. Ian Cameron, to the telecast. Bobano, how are you?
Great to be with you, Jimmy, as always, on a busy Thursday.
Let's get right to work. We start at 7 p.m. Eastern, my friend. Winnipeg Jets 35-14-3, 15-9-0 on the road at the Boston Bruins 25-21-6, 16-7-3 at home. We're at TD Garden in Boston, Massachusetts. Connor Hellebuyck, Jeremy Swayman expected here. Hellebuyck 31-7-2, 2 goals against average, .927 save percentage, 6 shutouts. It's been very good. Jeremy Swayman 16-17-4, 3.03 goals against average, .895 save percentage, 2 shutouts. He's been looking better. Not good yet, but better. Winnipeg, 32.6% power play. It's the best in the league. It's phenomenal. 79.1% penalty killing. Boston special teams have been atrocious, whether Sacco's in charge or Monty or whatever it is. It's very hard to fix special teams. You have Rocky Thompson in Philadelphia, who's this power play guru, and he can't do anything because Michkov isn't quite capable of handling the half-court offense, and Konechny isn't a half-court play. It's very difficult. Even the smartest minds come in and they can't fix it. Boston power play at 13.8%, penalty killing at 75.8%. Let's get into the line history here for this one. I have moved on this hockey game. You're probably sitting there like every single hockey capper goes, wow, how do you not back the Jets against the Bruins? And that is such a valid thing to think. Winnipeg opening up at -135, extremely fishy low line. They're just -138 right now. This line not moving towards them. I don't usually look at the cash flow in NHL, but you would have to think that the whole world would be on the Winnipeg Jets here. And that's not quite the case. 75% of the tickets, 73% of the cash is on the Jets. When we get to the total here for this one, we have a 5.5. This has just been sitting there. It has not moved. At one point, I mean, it moved a cent and then it came back. I mean, it has not moved, and this has been available since 1:12 p.m. yesterday. The Jets coming off their 4th straight win, 4-1 at Montreal on Tuesday. The Jets are without 6'5", do-everything center and captain Adam Lowry. They also just lost their 4th line depth center Morgan Barron to injury. He's week to week. He plays about 12 minutes a game, and he's decent. 85 hits in 52 games, 31 blocks. He's different. So Brad Lambert comes in. He's their 2022 first-round pick out of Finland. He's going to draw into the lineup to replace Barron. The problem here, and the elephant is in the room, is the Bruins just got annihilated on Tuesday. We were on the Sabres. Pete was on the Sabres team till over. I was on the Sabres. We gave it out as the birthday pick. We were all on them, and the Bruins got absolutely destroyed. Now, what can happen here is Charlie McAvoy is expected to come in and put a cape on and save the day. It's not being confirmed, but he's been practicing in a regular jersey all week. So we expect McAvoy to return. Hampus Lindholm continues to be out. He's been out 30-plus games. And Brandon, Carlo, and Oliver Wahlstrom are day-to-day with an illness. Every single team in the league has one or two illnesses. There's no real reason to make a big deal about it, I don't think, for any team here. Every single team, and I will go over the illnesses, is dealing with it. Mark Kastelik is also out with an undisclosed injury. I took the under 5.5. I would have interest in Bruins first period, but I can't trust them. And this isn't the spot where I want to fade them with their star player coming back. They need help on defense so badly. And they just got absolutely embarrassed. This line is fishy. It's not moving towards the Jets. The Jets are a much better hockey team. So I'm not going to be on the side. Just the under 5.5 minus 110 for me. It's minus 109 at offshore, but I sent it in at minus 110, 1 cent difference. I just rather send it in. Take it away for us, Bobano, Jets Bruins.
Yeah, I mean, I look at it here, and I'm almost tempted to take team total under on the Bruins because, to me, Winnipeg is on this crazy, crazy run where when they win, they hold the opponent to 2 or less. You go back and you look at the Winnipeg Jets, they in their last 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 wins. So the Jets in each of their last 11 wins have given up 2 goals or less to the opponent. So the last 11 victories for the Jets, they've given up 2 or less. I don't know if that changes here tonight. I think Winnipeg wins. I don't love the price. I think Boston is going to obviously play hard tonight. You would think they are. This is supposed to be a Bruins spot off a thrashing at the hands of Buffalo. And what makes that shocking is Buffalo is off a long road trip, and Buffalo never beats Boston at home until the other night. It was just an amazing victory there for Buffalo there, and a terrible one for Boston. You would think they respond, but they're not scoring consistently. They're going to probably face Hellebuck. I would expect he's in net, even though it hasn't been confirmed yet. He's been unbelievable. He's been lights out. I don't trust them offensively right now, this Boston Bruins team. But I think tonight what we will see from them after giving up 7 goals to Buffalo is we will see them compete defensively. We'll see them absolutely try to, we've got to try to tighten things up. We can't be giving up 2 hat tricks to 2 different players and expect to win a hockey game. That just can't happen. That's the most amazing part of that loss. They give up 2 hat tricks to 2 different players. Tage Thompson and JJ Paterka both got a hat trick the other night for Buffalo in that game. So I think the under does make sense. I really want to back Winnipeg because even though Boston's going to play hard, especially probably defensively more so than not, and I don't trust them to score, there's still a lot of injuries on the blue line, and Lindholm's still out. Maybe they get McAvoy back. Brandon Carlo missed the last game with an illness, may not play again, and I don't know if they can overcome that. So I'm going to stick with a bet that I've been making. I've made this bet now a few games in a row with Winnipeg, and it's cashed every single time that I've taken it. And that's the opponent team total under. It's a very rare thing for me, but I've picked up on it. Why lay minus 140 with the Winnipeg Jets, or even bigger prices with them when they're favored at home? If you like them to win, bet the opponent team total under, because each of the last 11 Winnipeg Jets victories, the opponent has scored 2 goals or less. And that's exactly what I'm doing here. A Boston Bruins team total under 2.5 plus 102.
You are locked in. That's a really nice number, getting plus money there on the, with a 5.5 and the underdog.
Yeah, that's a great price. I can tell you at some of the books we can name, it's minus 110 at FanDuel, minus 105 at DraftKings. So still some pretty good prices out there with that.
That's amazing. I wouldn't have expected a plus money spot here. Yeah, wow. Even 365, which gives the worst team totals in the industry, in my estimation. The one thing is that you can build your own 2s and 3s and things like that, which is helpful. But Bobano on the Bruins team total under 2. Slow Jams, my man, and it's an interesting thing and an important thing that you say. That he's saying here that Jets money line or nothing, injured player theory. I think that you have to, what is the most important angle in this game? And the market is telling us this as well. By far, the most important angle in this game is the Bruins were just embarrassed.
Yeah.
And that's why this line is lower than one would expect. And that's why that trumps to me McAvoy come back. Now, look, if the team's won 3 or 4 straight games and their best player comes back, it's totally different. But this is a team that is in desperate need of him. But it's very important, though. And you stick with your ideology, whatever helps you and gets you paid. A lucky lefty in the house. We got Matty Ice ready to work. Great to see you guys. And also, ResMob, I was on UIC +8. And what happened around the 8-minute mark of the first half was just bewildering. I didn't even know what to say. I couldn't believe my eyes. It was like a 30-point move that was just in like 4 minutes. Like, it was just unbelievable. And I was thankful for that USC. But we're both in. I'm on the under 5.5 -110. Bobano on the team total under 2.5 at +102. We move on. 7 p.m. Eastern with the Minnesota Wild 30, 17-4, 19-5-3 on the road. The Montreal Canadiens 24, 21-5, 13-9-4 at home at the Bell Center in Montreal, Quebec. Marc-Andre Fleury playing his final game at the Bell Center in Montreal. He's been talking about this in the chat last couple of days. It's a big deal for him, the Montreal native. It's a big deal for his family. And, we made a big ploy, you guys, to get off of the Habs. Now, again, my bias in play, I haven't been fading them. I just haven't backed them in 4 games. The beat writers in Montreal, we talked about this on Tuesday, are going off about how can this team just make it to the 4 nations. They're exhausted. They're showing it on the ice. Can they make it to the 4 nations? In saying that, this is kind of a tricky spot with the Wild coming off a great game, of which, again, like, I don't mean to, we're running nice in NHL and we were heavy on the Wild, except I thought the line was going to keep going up. I was very upset when I saw it was +135 after the show. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one, because it's tricky. And I'm sure other cappers have angles that they truly believe in. This 6 -102 to the over is now -106 to the over, a 4-cent move to the over. I mean, you want to romanticize the situation. It's very easy to do that. The Minnesota Wild's at +121. They opened up at +105. So despite Fleury, the possibility of him stepping up in his final appearance in Montreal, we've had this huge move towards the Habs and Jacob Dobis in net. Dobis has been phenomenal. 5-0-1, 1.93 goals against average, .933 save percentage, 1 shutout. Both power plays at 20%. The difference is Montreal's penalty killing has been very good, something we're used to from the Minnesota Wild, but we're not getting from the Wild. Wild on the second half, back-to-back. They've started out this 5-game road trip with a 4-2 win at Chicago on Sunday and a 3-1 win at Toronto last night. They'll be playing, of course, without Kirill Kaprizov and Marcus Johansson and Jonas Brodin. Big pieces they're missing, which makes me think, oh, no, when they're healthy, if they're healthy, because you never know if your team's going to get healthy again, right? But if they are healthy come playoff time, what a monster this Wild team will be. Habs come in off their third straight loss, 4-1 at home to the Jets on Tuesday, and they lose the key defenseman Caden Gooley to a lacerated quad. We had Slatsy talking about Gooley in the chat. Now, who's coming in is Jaden
30 in
Struble.
his own end, physical. That'll be a presence they miss. No doubt about it.
Definitely, but they have all these high draft pick young defensemen. This is a Habs team that's going to be very good for a long time. And I want to see Struble play. Shout out to Nasty Nate, Rhode Island native Jaden Struble. He was a second-round pick in 2019. I want to see more of him. They're also missing Heino. Remember, Emil Heineman, who's become such an important, with bottom 6 forward with truculence and speed. He upper body injury in a traffic accident as a pedestrian in Utah 10 days ago. This is also the final game of a 3-game homestand. They head to California next. Tomorrow, they get on a plane and head to California for 3 days. So I don't really want either of these hockey teams, Bobano. The market's getting me off the Wild, but I was never really on the Wild. Take it away, Bobano. Wild Habs.
Yeah, I'm very tempted by Minnesota, even though it's a back-to-back. This game means everything to Marc-Andre Fleury. They'll play their asses off. Montreal's starting to fade. And even Jakob Dobis, I can't even ride the Jakob Dobis train anymore, because I said I'd bet on Montreal with him starting in net every game until he loses. Well, he finally lost on Saturday night against New Jersey. in overtime. So I'm very, very much interested in Minnesota here, even on a back-to-back. The only thing I don't love is Minnesota's 2-3 on a back-to-back this year. It's not a great back-to-back record, but another thing you have to factor in is Minnesota's owned this series. They've won 8 straight, 9 of the last 10 versus Montreal. Yeah, I'm gonna actually move ahead with it, Jimmy. I like it. I mean, I think we have seen it with this team. As bizarre as it is to explain, they actually have played very well without Kaprizov because they've tightened it up. They've played more of a structure shutdown, trap it up type of game. That was such a boring game last night. That was a complete snore fest with the Wild and the Leafs last night. But that's the way Minnesota wants it, right now without Kirill Kaprizov in the lineup. So I think they might try to play that way again here. And I'm sure they will to insulate Marc-Andre Fleury, make this, hopefully a successful winning night for him. In an emotional night, which means a lot to him, his final start ever in Montreal. So I will take them here, plus 124, Minnesota Wild.
Bobano on the Wild.
And yes, there are a lot of prospects on the way. Jaden Strubal's only going to get better. They got Luke Casey's brother, Luke Mittelstadt. Logan Mayu's going to come up at some point. Adam Engstrom. David Reinbacher's on the way, the first-round pick for them. They got a lot of defensive prospects, a lot of blue liners on the way.
Yeah, are you surprised there's this big market move towards the Habs?
It's the back-to-back, and because I see it all the time. There's always movement in the betting markets against teams on a back-to-back. Not always, but often, more often than not. That's
this time of year. I think that's a mistake as well. All that matters is what happened in the back-to-back, not that there is. What happened in game 1 of the back-to-back is what I should say. All right, Bobano, moving on the Wild. I'm off this spot. I got a lot of NHL action, and this one is like I get North Endry said, jumped off Habs, perfect time against the Wings. I'm back on for this one. No fairy tale endings in sports. Well, there are some, but I don't believe in those either. So let's roll on. Next spot on the board for us, 7 p.m. Eastern with the Washington Capitals, 34-11-5, 18-7-1 on the road. At the Ottawa Senators, 26-20-4, 14-7-2 at home. Canadian Tire Center in Ottawa, Ontario. Faded the Caps in Vancouver. Stayed off against Calgary, even though they probably should have been backed. And then I told you guys, I knew I was going to fade them against Ottawa. And I expect to fade the Caps for their next 4 games until they play Utah. I'm going to fade them every game. Shout out to Joe Tadero. We got the planted flag fighter of the week from our guy, Joe T, star of the Locker Room Talk podcast, Nurmagomedov. To make it 3-0 in 2025. Great stuff, Joe. And thank you so much for sharing it with us. Let's get to work. They have Charlie Lindgren listed. Do you think he's going to be in net tonight?
That's a good question. I'm very interested in that. I think it will be. I actually do believe so. And Forsberg in net, who I don't love Forsberg, but he was better last time. Is that
confirmed that Forsberg's in net?
Yeah, it is Forsberg. Yep.
Okay. That's interesting. And so with that knowledge, because some thought Yomark would be back, and that actually made me a little nervous. But that's not changing anything. I guess you know what it is. It's because I don't understand why Logan Thompson wouldn't be playing. Is he got some bumps and bruises?
No, I think it's just a rest spot at the end of a road trip.
And why is Logan Thompson not a goaltender for Team Canada in the Four Nations?
Terrible mistake they made. Terrible.
Do you know what's going to happen here? And this is important. Washington has nobody in the Four Nations.
Yep.
That's so helpful for that hockey team. This is going to be a real break for a veteran group. So coming out of the Four Nations, I might have to get off this fate train. But I guess with Lindgren being announced in, there's been this move towards the Senators. They opened up at minus 102. They're now minus 111, a 9-cent move towards the Senators. With a total here, we have a 5.5. It's minus 120 to the under. Open up minus 119 to the under. And when we get into this, first we got to talk about this Ottawa injury report. It's ugly. The problem right now is you have Nick Cousins and Noah Gregor out. Jacob Bernard Docker is, of course, out as well. So those are 2 depth centers and a defenseman. Nick Jensen's day-to-day with an undisclosed injury. You need him here in the lineup. So it's a bit of a problem there. Lindgren has not been very good. I don't know why they're pushing, especially with this huge break coming up. I don't know why they're putting him in there when Logan Thompson's been so phenomenal. Both power plays are reasonably similar. Washington 22.7, Ottawa 22.2. It's Washington's penalty kill that's been so good this year, 84.7% compared to Ottawa's, which has been good, 78.9%. Slotty said Caps are under in 10 straight, and Sens have gone under in 12 of the last 13. Call me square, but I'm on the under 5.5 at minus 120. Oh, Aaron, I'm glad you cashed with that. That was a fun game to watch, fun cap. Yeah, I thought about the under. I looked at the under. I just, with Charlie Lindgren, I couldn't understand why he was in net, and I just didn't want it with him in net. But I can understand why anybody would be on it. Right. The Capitals bounced back from their 2-1 loss in Vancouver by winning at Calgary on Tuesday. This is the final game of a 5-game road trip. Ottawa's won 2 in a row to start this 4-game homestand. They won 2-1 at home versus Toronto on Saturday, followed up with a 3-1 win at home over Utah on Sunday. So that was a back-to-back Saturday-Sunday. This is a very well-rested group. I'm on the Ottawa Senators here. I think I got minus 105, and I bet it at 365 last night. Yeah, I got minus 105. Take it away for us, Bobano, Capital Senators.
So 10 straight unders for Washington. 15-2 to the under for Ottawa in their last 17 games. What could go wrong? Betting under 5.5 tonight. What could possibly go wrong? Right? Yeah, I lean under too, but at 5.5 with juice, with Forsberg and a Lindgren matchup, doesn't sit well with me. I could only bet the under, obviously. I'm not going against a 10 straight unders for Washington and 15-17 for Ottawa, but I'm just a little heebie-jeebies when it's a Forsberg versus Lindgren matchup. The only thing I'm on in this game is the draw. I think the draw is a great bet. Plus 320 on the draw. We saw overtime in Ottawa when these teams played most recently. 1-0 Capitals win in overtime in that game. 4 of the last 6, as Slatsy says, have gone past regulation in the series history. 2 straight as well. Very, very straightforward. A lot of factors ticking the box when it comes to a game that's got some real overtime potential. So draw plus 320.
You got it. Let's roll on. 7 p.m. Eastern, LA Kings 26-15-6, 11-12-5 on the road. The Tampa Bay Lightning 26-20-3, 15-7-1 at home. Amalie Arena in Tampa, Florida. David Riddick in that he's been bad all year long. 886 save percentage. Kemper's been so good. Riddick's been so bad. Vasilevsky, will he be in between the pipes? He was a late scratch against the Blackhawks because of a sickness. We expect him to be in the pipes, between the pipes, but we don't know if he will be. LA Kings power play 15.7%, penalty killing 81.7%. Tampa Bay power play 27.3%, penalty killing 81.4%. And this is an extremely difficult cap. These are 2 very angry hockey teams. You love capping when you know, oh, this one team is very angry. This other team's fat and happy. No, these are 2 very angry hockey teams. And it just makes me pause and not really want to pick a side. This totals at 5.5. It's minus 116 to the over. This opened up at 6, minus 119 to the under. That's if you want it at 6, you can get it juice to the under. If you want it 5.5, you can get it juice to the over. On the money line here, the Kings are plus 129. They opened up at plus 116. This line's moved from minus 131 to minus 143 for Tampa. Look, I get that move. I get it. But the Kings have gotten their road trip off to a horrific start. They lose 3-2 in overtime at Columbus on Saturday. They lose 5-2 at Detroit on Monday. They follow that up with a 3-0 loss last night in Florida, the second half of a back-to-back. Drew Doughty returned to the lineup, played 23 minutes, 51 seconds, took 3 shots, and was a minus 2. Lightning come off their 4th loss in 5 games, 4-1 at home to the Blackhawks on Tuesday. This is game 2 of a 5-game homestand. This is a Lightning smash spot, but how angry are the Kings? I mean... Take it away, Bobano, Kings Lightning.
3 bets here. We've got system play, first of all. LA off a shutout loss. So you know what that means. We're on the first period over by Fecta. First period over 1.5, minus 120. Full game over 5.5, minus 115. So we're on both of those. This is another draw for me as well. I don't really want to bet either side, but I think a draw is very plausible here. It was 2-1 in LA earlier this season with these 2 teams. Half of the last 10 meetings, 5 of the last 10 have gone past regulation. And Kings versus Lightning in Tampa, 4 of the last 5 have gone to overtime in Tampa Bay between these 2 teams. 4 of the last 5 meetings. So again, a lot of parameters make sense here. Both teams bringing it tonight. You've got LA off, obviously, multiple losses on this road trip. You've got Tampa Bay surely not in a good mood after getting shut out by Detroit. losing at home to the lowly Blackhawks 4-1, although Soderblom was terrific in that game in net for the Blackhawks. So both teams bring it. Competitive game, real chance for overtime. A lot of history that points to overtime games, especially here in Tampa between these two teams. So plus 326 for the draw.
You got it. Plus 326. Roll into our next spot, 7 p.m. Eastern. Chicago Blackhawks 16-29-5, 6-15-3 on the road. The Carolina Hurricanes 31-16-4, 19-5-1 at home. We're at the Lenovo Center in Raleigh, North Carolina. We have Peter Mrazek going up against Peter Kochekov. That's the expectation. Mrazek's being bad. 9-17-2, 3.26 goals against average, 895 save percentage, no shutouts. And Kochekov is being very pedestrian, 18-9-3, 2.48 goals against average, 903 save percentage, one shutout. Chicago power play 24.2%, penalty killing 81.3%. Which very good special teams for such a bad hockey team. Carolina 20.8% power play, 86% penalty killing. They just continually have very good special teams year after year, and you have to think it's a big part of Rod Brindamore's success. This is a huge line that's not moving. It moved a little bit at one point, but it's come back. We've had 4 cents of movement, 435 to 439. We almost never see that. Generally speaking, the very huge favorites become bigger favorites throughout the day, and we see 40 to 50, 60 cents of movement. That's not happening here. Maybe it was just lined correctly, From a total standpoint here, we have a 6. It's a pick 'em basically. It's minus 107 to the over. It was minus 112 to the over, so it's come back 5 cents. I can't pass these spots up. This is Rantanen's first game at home. The place is going to be buzzing. But if you give me a team that is playing, they just snapped their 3-game losing streak with that 4-1 win at Tampa, but and Philly Eagle Flyer on Kane's first period team total over 1.5 plus 180. This could easily blow up in my face. But you're going to give me the first period plus a half at minus 110 for the Blackhawks. Well, I'm going to take it. The first 20 minutes. Now, we see the new player in that first period in the new arena, and they score 3 goals. We see it all the time, but is it really in the first 20 minutes I get a pick 'em, at plus a half? I can't pass that up, and I didn't pass it up. I'm on the Blackhawks first period plus a half at minus 110. We have the Hurricanes, bouncing back from the 3-2 overtime loss at the Islanders on Saturday in Mikko Rantanen's first game as a Hurricane by beating the Rangers 4-0 at MSG on Tuesday. They're dealing with depth issues because Jost is out. Jack Roslovic is day-to-day with an illness. He is expected back today. William Carrier also out for the Canes. The Blackhawks have been missing Connor Murphy and Craig Smith, important pieces to their accountability and defensive accountability. But I'm on the first period plus a half with the Blackhawks minus 110. Bobano, take it away.
I kind of feel I think Carolina's probably going to have a slow start too. I just get that feeling coming off 4-0 win against the Rangers. They, bounce back for them after losing 4 in a row. We'll see if they can actually. I don't think that's a mistake. They didn't lose 4 in a row. They just lost 1 to the Islanders. They had won 4 in a row before losing to the Islanders. Then they've shut out the Rangers. They're still playing well, 5-1 in their last 6 games. You make no mistake about that. This kind of feels like maybe that Columbus game, where they were down 2-0 after the first period to the Jackets, and then they roared back and they won 7-4 in that hockey game against Columbus. I'm kind of with you. Chicago needed a win. They got one. Maybe a little springboard here into tonight against the Carolina Hurricanes for, a decent start, and maybe, Carolina maybe not sharp the first 20 minutes off an ultra satisfying win against, a team they got history with, the New York Rangers team that bounced them from the Stanley Cup playoffs last year. But I'm going to approach it in a different manner here a little bit. By the way, I want to point out too with the games in Carolina, 5-2, 6-3, 6-3, 4-3, 6-3. There's one game that was 3-0. Everything else went over the total with the Blackhawks and the Hurricanes. And the Blackhawks, okay, the last game stayed under in the first period, but they're still 15-2 to the first period over in the last 17 games. It's been one of the best streaks in hockey. I'm still going to ride it one more time. So I'm going to go with over 1.5 minus 130 first period. I am going to take the full game over, and we're going to lay a little price with this one, over 5.5 minus 135 for the full game over. And I know you're on Chicago first period puck line, but I'm going to take something a little bit different, but similar. Chicago to score a goal in the first period is minus 104. Dirt cheap price. All we need is one goal from the Chicago Blackhawks in the first period for this to cash. I'm going to take that. Minus 104. Chicago, goal in the first period.
You got it. Bobano locked in. First period over 1.5 minus 130. Full game over 5.5 minus 135. Blackhawks first period team total over 5.5 minus 104. Billy Friedrich, I got all of your action in, but where is the pig milk play of the day? I somehow. Oh, there it is. Detroit Mercy. Okay, sorry. I got it now. Detroit Mercy. Perfect. Okay, so we got lots of fodder for our college basketball.
And doubtful. Don't tell me that. I might be tempted to bet Chicago plus 350 now. And I'm always interested when I see a favorite of more than minus 400. I get interested. My antennas go up that I'm interested in taking a shot with the dog, because it's crazy how often this is happening with these minus 400 or higher favorites going down. It's happened. Look at Tampa the other night against this very Chicago team. Perfect example.
Yeah, but that, we know when Jonas Johansson is in between the pipes for the Lightning, you run to the window to fade them. It's amazing. You can see the players not trust them. It's amazing. And Billy Friedrich saying Tara Vinen coming back to play his former team.
And he scored the last game. He's absolutely going to be a goal prop on my card tonight. 100%. Teuvo Teravainen.
Let's roll on. I'm on the Blackhawks first period plus 0.5 minus 110. Bowman's on the Blackhawks first period team total over 0.5 at minus 104. The first period over 1.5 with both teams minus 130 and the full game over 5.5.
You know what? Let's put that on the card, that Teravainen goal prop. It's plus 475. That's a crazy price. He's playing his old team. He's going back to Carolina. He scored, I believe, in the last game. It was. He got an empty netter against Tampa the other night. He's been in better form. He scored 3 goals in the last 9 games. At that price, he still plays in the top 6. He's back to Carolina against his old team. That's worth making the official show card, in my opinion, at that price. Plus 475. Teuvo Teravainen to score.
You've got it. Teravainen goal at plus 475. Let's roll on. We move on to Islanders, Philadelphia Flyers. So this line has gone heavy against me, and I don't get. When the line came out of the pick'em, I was like, well, everybody in the world's going to see that this is the perfect spot for the Flyers. This should move to minus 120 by game time. And I was very, very.
You know what it is? It's back-to-back, and their record in back-to-backs is among the worst in the NHL. I think they're 1-9 on a back-to-back.
How many back-to-backs have they been outscored 5-0 or 4-0 or being shut out in the first game of that back-to-back?
Yeah. Well,
because the problem is in a lot of those back-to-backs, they've won the first game of the back-to-back.
Yeah.
This is
be in a good mood. I agree.
This, for me, I'm not one that hammers trends, but this to me is screaming. So I was way off. I got the minus 110, and we have Korpisalo confirmed. Wow. Don't like that. Korpisalo confirmed.
To be honest with you, is he that much worse than Swayman right now? Swayman's still been up and down to me. Yeah.
Yeah. That wasn't part of my cap.
I don't think there's a gaping hole, wide gap between the two right now, but we'll see.
Okay, let's roll into this one. So this totals at 5.5. There's been no movement on it. Slightly juiced to the under. And the money line here is a plus 109 for the Flyers. I bet this before it was available at the offshores that I have. Now, it was available where we used to play poker. I don't have money in that account right now. I probably should put some in there. But this was minus 110 at 365. But this opened up at plus 101 and it's now plus 109. So for me, Billy Friedrich says, love the Isles here. Especially the way they've been playing.
A lot of people will. They've won 5 in a row. Yeah.
But they've all come at home.
Yeah.
In a 7-game homestand. This is not Islanders winning all over North America playing great hockey, in my estimation. So for me, this is just screaming Philadelphia Flyers. So at least what I did do was I bet the first period for the Flyers. At least I got that late, and I got that at plus money at plus 101, because the Flyers are going to come out like gangbusters. Now, we have Fedotov in net, and Bobano and I have gone back and forth about Fedotov, and Bobano's been right. I've been wrong at this point. He's been a little better in January, 2.68 goals against average, 888 save percentage. Owen Tippett is day-to-day as well. But I'm telling you, the Islanders winning is going to set us up to make so much money fading them. So, yeah, D'Angelo and Prunovich got off to a good start. Those two defensemen are going to drive Lamoriello crazy. These small, offensive-minded defensemen are going to drive. He has no hair to pull out anymore, but they're going to drive him absolutely bananas. This is a team missing Noah Dobson, Ryan Pulock, two of their top four defensemen, and Mike Riley. So the fact that they've been winning is going to, in my estimation, be the perfect situation for us to start fading them. And now they switch cities. Remember the switch cities in MLB. You have a home 7-game or more winning streak, and you switch cities. It is the number one ROI for an angle that I've ever seen in baseball. Now, this isn't the same thing. It's different. But you win 5 straight games on a 7-game homestand where you're cushy and comfortable. And now this isn't a difficult road trip or anything like that. But now you're going up to get a Flyers team that just lost 5-0 last night to the Devils. They're an angry, angry group. And I expect them to come out guns a-blazing, hair on fire. And the Islanders will start losing. Prunovich and D'Angelo are not going to give you prolonged success in the NHL. Bobano, I'm on the Flyers first period and full game. Take it away.
You know what? If the Flyers didn't have that horrendous back-to-back record, I'd probably be leaning in their direction too, because part of me doesn't believe in this Islanders win streak, and I don't fully trust them yet. That was a nice win against Colorado, but how much of that is Colorado's been moping a little bit since the Mikko Rantanen trade, and I think it's going to take I'm not in a rush to bet Colorado right now, because I think they're still coming to grips with Mikko Rantanen getting dealt. I mean, you just saw the interview McKinnon had after the Boston game, and you could tell he's absolutely just, you can't believe, that it happened. And they kind of played like it. So I think the Islanders, I'm not buying in that they're back, that they're all of a sudden really good. There's going to be some losses on the way. Perhaps tonight, I can't get there with that back-to-back record. 1-9 is horrendous, on the second night of back-to-back games for the Philadelphia Flyers. And that's enough to keep me off. What I am on, though, is the system play. This is a system play game with obviously the Philadelphia Flyers getting shut out last night by the New Jersey Devils, 5-0. I think we were on the system play Islanders Flyers on this show exactly 2 weeks ago. It was in Long Island. It was at UBS Arena, and I think one of the two teams was off a shutout that night, Islanders Flyers, January 16th. And on this show, because it was a Thursday, and I was on the first period over full game, and we swept with those two that night. So I'm going right back to the well with it here. First period over, full game over tonight. Islanders and Flyers over 1.5 minus 105 at Bet365. Over 5.5 minus 104.
You are locked in. I'm on the Flyers first period and full game. Bobano on first period over 1.5 and the over 5.5. We roll on 9 p.m. Eastern. Anaheim Ducks 21-23-6, 10-11-4 on the road. Calgary Flames 24-18-7, 15-7-3 at home. Scotiabank Saladome, Calgary, Alberta. Lucas Dostal up against Dustin Wolf. Dostal 13-13-4, 2.96 goals against average, 908 save percentage, 1 shutout. Dustin Wolf 18-8-2, 2.56 goals against average, 915 save percentage, 2 shutouts. This is a very different situation. You guys remember on Tuesday, Peter Loshak predicted that I would be on the Kraken when, in fact, I was bullish on the Ducks. He talked about how could this offensive explosion continue. When a team has been losing and losing and losing year after year after year, and they find and see some light at the end of the tunnel or breaking through the clouds, it carries over. This isn't a thing, oh, they're switching cities. They're going on the road. They're going home. No, this is bet the Ducks every game. Now, do you want them against the Oilers? I mean, we'll come to that when we need to, but bet the Ducks every game. Who cares? I don't believe in the Flames at all, and they've been very good at home, and they've cost me money fading them at home. But this is bet the Ducks every game, and I've been doing it, and I'm doing it here. I did see, oh, God, now it's up to plus 164. Jesus. I thought 156 would be the highest. And it even came back 2 cents, but then it jumped up to 164. I should have waited. Not going to let it bother me at all. From a total side of things here, we have a 6. It's minus 112 to the under. Open up at 5.5. Now a 6. We're going up. Anaheim power play 13.2%, 73.9% penalty killing. We talked about Greg Cronin extensively on Tuesday, and we don't need to rehash all of those things. But this team seems to be flying. 16 goals in their last 3 games. Action Jackson, no, I would not. There's no need for me to double up on this big of a dog. It's a huge dog. You're going to get a huge score.
Yeah.
So I don't need to risk any more than 1 unit and then take the full game. Also, when you're going to bet like a double up, if it's a first period situation, or you might be talking 2 units, but I was thinking you're talking first period, you need. I need a team like the Flyers coming off a 5-0 loss to back a team first period. I need a team that I know they're going to be champing. That's not here. So, look, I'm on the Ducks. I don't care how far this line moves against me. Anaheim is a healthy group playing their best hockey of the year, playing their best hockey in how many years? Flames coming off their second straight loss, 3-1 at home versus the Capitals on Tuesday. This is game 2 of a 3-game homestand. They're missing Connor Zary and defenseman Kevin Ball. Connor Zary is a very good young forward. I just don't believe in this Flames team, and the Ducks are rolling. Give me the Ducks. Now, I only got plus 156. I should have waited. I thought that was as high as it would get. Take it away, Bobano. Ducks Flames.
Yeah, this is and I love Dustin Wolf, but I mean Anaheim, and first of all, Calgary at this price, never am I interested. And Anaheim has won 3 in a row. I want to see who's in net first. Like if it's Vladar,
he's saying it's Gibson. Is that right?
Yeah, it could be Gibson. I'm seeing Gibson right now projected, not confirmed. Projected.
That's why the line's moved.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and I don't like Gibson either. I'm waiting for the goalie to be confirmed before because I'm interested in Anaheim, but I prefer not to have Gibson in net, and I would prefer not to have Wolf in net because Wolf can win this game. And look, Wolf played great against Washington. Calgary played well enough to win against Washington. They just couldn't beat the impenetrable Logan Thompson in that game the other night. I'm interested in Anaheim. I just need to see who's in net.
Now, I can understand saying Gibson's trash, but Gibson's been the much better goalie in January.
For the full season, he hasn't. But lately, you're right. There's been a little bit of a tailing off in Dostal, and Gibson's been solid. I wouldn't say he's been good. He's been solid.
You don't think a .921 save percentage and a 2.52 goals against? I mean,
it's better for him. It is better for him.
That's an elite save percentage. Now, it's January, but we're talking 8 starts.
Yep, it's a decent sample size. Yep, 8 games is decent amount. Yep.
So, but I can understand not trust now. Look, he's been a part of these horrible hockey teams. Now they're a winning hockey team. I mean, does it surprise you that the Ducks are starting to win and Gibson starts playing better?
It goes hand in hand. I mean, obviously, they're still not a playoff team, but at least it gives them a little confidence that they've won a few in a row. I agree. It makes it feel better now when you take the ice. It's, hey, we can win this game. Gives you a little belief.
Plus 156 I got, unfortunately. I could have got plus 164. Okay, let's roll on. 9 p.m. Eastern with the Detroit Red Wings, 24-20. Oh, so you're off of that spot, though, Ducks Flames.
I'm leaning Anaheim with you, but I want to see who's in net.
Speaking, because I know Dostal just had one bad game. I don't mean to layer him in as...
No, he hasn't been bad, Dostal. It's just he hasn't been, like, stand on his head level, Dostal, the last few starts. Yeah.
Let's roll. 9 p.m. Eastern, Detroit Red Wings 24-21-5, 9-10-3 on the road at the Edmonton Oilers, 32-15-3, 18-8-1 at home at Rogers Place in Edmonton, Alberta. Cam Talbot going up against Stuart Skinner. Skinner's starting to play well. The whole Oilers team is playing well. I mean, this team, if they are healthy, they're going to be an absolute juggernaut. I know there's talk about Ekholm being sick. Ekholm's not missed a game this year. I don't know what could possibly keep him from playing tonight. He's just that kind of a guy. Kasperi Kapanen's also dealing with an illness. There's 2 of them here with this squad dealing with an illness. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We'll start with the total. This total is at 6.5. It's minus 108 to the under. It opened up at 6.5 minus 119 to the under. So there was a move. There was initially. Initially there was a move to the over, but then this went down to 6 for a little bit. This was a 6. It wasn't a fully legit 6, but still we've had 10 cents of movement on the over at 6.5. On the money line here for this one, we have the Oilers at minus 258. They opened up at minus 250. There was a move towards them for a little bit. It's kind of come back. Wings money line for Turnsey. And so I'm the opposite here. I think that the Red Wings are going to lose by margin here. But let's break this one down here. Talbot, Skinner, Detroit power play, Edmonton power play, both very good, but Edmonton power play starting to soar, which is something that we expected. Penalty killing 77.4%, being pretty strong this year. The Wings come off their 3rd straight win, 5-2 over the Kings at home on Monday. It was impressive. Look, they're playing good hockey. They swept their 3-game homestand. Patrick Kane week to week, Comfer day to day, and Petrie out. Oilers have won 3 straight with all 3 games coming at home. So they're similar situations. They come in off the 4-2 win over Seattle on Monday. I think Detroit comes back to earth on the road here. We saw signs of it, before this homestand got them rolling again. I think the Oilers win by margin. I'm on the minus 1.5. I got the minus 1.5 at minus 102 for the Oilers. Take it away here, Bobano. Wings, Oilers.
Yeah, Detroit. Credit to them. It looked like, wow, there goes the coach bump. They had lost 3 in a row to the Lightning, the Stars, and the Flyers there. And there goes the momentum with the coaching change. They had played so well. But credit to them. They've certainly responded. This Red Wings team, 3 wins in a row for them with the Montreal win 4-2. They win that game. They also had the 2-0 shutout win over the Tampa Bay Lightning, then the 5-2 win against the Kings the other night. Now can they take it on the road's the question. I'm kind of leaning toward Detroit, but remember, Edmonton's got Toronto after this, and they're off 3 straight wins, and they got the Leafs coming in on Saturday night, on Hockey Night in Canada. So I don't know if this is the best Edmonton spot. The question is, can Detroit defensively keep Edmonton off the score sheet? And if you look at series history, they've had trouble doing that. The head-to-head series, Edmonton's won 5 of the last 6, and boy, they put up a lot of goals in a lot of these. 4 goals, 5 goals, 7 goals, 8 goals the last time Detroit came to Edmonton. Edmonton put an 8 spot on the board. So they've had a nightmare defensive matchup, and it's not like their goaltending has gotten much better since then. It's still the same crew of mediocre options as far as I'm concerned in net. So this is and by the way, Edmonton's been one of those teams lately. They've been trending over as far as first periods again. So this is an over by Fecta game for me. Over 1.5, minus 140 at Caesars for the first period over, and over 6.5, minus 104 for the full game.
Over 6.5 minus 104 for Bobano. I'm on the Oilers minus 1.5 at minus 102. With the Ducks, when they went on the road after winning 2 straight at home, and I said I didn't think that the home road mattered. Here, I do think it matters very much. Now, again, it's not a black and white thing, but I do think it matters very much. Shout out to our guy Gorky in the house with the $2 dono to bless our action. Jets Magic moneyline. Bayern Munich plus 4.5 in the EuroLeague as a single spot. Thank you, Gorky, my man. I've got that copied and pasted, my friend, and we will continue to discuss it.
Actually, you know what? I'm going to do another first period goal bet for Detroit here. I like Detroit, but I like them to score early. Because remember, last game for Edmonton, what happened? Who scored the first goal? Seattle did. Even though Edmonton won the game 4-2, Seattle jumped on them and scored. I could see that tonight. Toronto on deck, sluggish, sleepy little start for Edmonton maybe, and Detroit and I don't trust Detroit defensively. So I don't want Detroit puck line or any of that in the first period. I'm looking at them just score a goal, get on the board early. Edmonton gives up an early goal often. They typically do that. I could see that happening tonight. So minus 140 on Detroit to score a goal in the first period. I'm going to add that.
You've got it. Sorry, I was looking at Res Mob tailing the overs. Okay, sorry.
That's minus 140 goal in the first period for Detroit.
Okay, Wings first period over 5 minus 140 team first period team. Okay, let's roll up. There's my guy Old E in the house. We roll on 10 p.m. Eastern's our next spot on the board. Columbus Blue Jackets 24-19-7, 7-14-4 on the road at the Vegas Golden Knights 31-15-5, 19-6-2 at home. We're at T-Mobile Arena in Las Vegas, Nevada. Elvis Merzlikins going up against Aiden Hill. That's what's listed. We'll see if that comes to fruition. 18-11-3 is Merzlikins, 2.95 goals against average, 894 save percentage, 1 shutout. Aiden Hill 19-9-4, 2.65 goals against average, 901 save percentage, 2 shutouts. And he's obviously seeing Logan Thompson, what he's doing over in Washington. And Aiden Hill's not been very good this year. Columbus power play 22.6%, penalty killing 74.8%. What a job Evason has done. What a hockey team the Blue Jackets are. But again, it's always at home. On the road, they've won 7 of 25 games in regulation. That's for a team that's 5 games over 500. Vegas power play 28.3%, penalty killing at 78.2%. It's their bottom 6 for me, and they have forwards now. I mean, when you have Hurdle as your second line center instead of Chandler Stevenson, well, maybe you get a bump offensively, and I'm a huge Stevenson fan. But you lose a lot defensively. Dorofeyev, all these guys, they're not very strong defensive forwards, and this has been a Knights team with Waugh and Stevenson as the second and third line center that was big, tall, and defensively accountable. They're not quite that way anymore. Let's go into the line history here for this one. We have Columbus at plus 256. They opened up at plus 207. So just a monstrous move towards Vegas from minus 241 to minus 295. Just a huge, huge move towards them. On the total for this one, we have a 6.5. It's minus 118 to the under. Opened up minus 117 to the under. No movement. Jackets come in off their second win in 3 games, 3-2 in overtime at home over the Kings on Saturday. This is the beginning of a 4-game trip. It's a rested squad. Sean Monahan week to week and Cole Sillinger day to day. That's 2 centers. And Igor Chinnikov is going to be a very good scorer in this league, and he's been out now for months. So he remains out of the lineup. Vegas comes in off their second loss in 3 games, 4-3 in overtime at home to the Stars on Tuesday, while Bill Carlson remains out of the lineup. I mean, I could understand expecting goals in this game, but there was nothing that really appealed to me. Bobano, take it away. Jackets Knights.
You know what appeals to me right now, because this price has gotten out of hand? Columbus. I'm taking them. I'm putting them on the card. Plus 265. This is insane now with Vegas. Vegas isn't playing that great. And I know they're off the loss against Dallas in overtime. This is a 3-7 hockey team in their last 10 games. They beat Florida at home 4-1, but Florida was on a back-to-back. They beat St. Louis 4-2. Actually, they lost to St. Louis at home, 5-4 in a shootout, but they beat St. Louis in the rematch on the road. And then they beat Minnesota 4-1. Minnesota was depleted at the time. There's nothing I love about Vegas's game right now. Now, Columbus on the road's not as good as they are at home. But let me put some shine on the 4 road games they recently had. They only went 1-3, but they lost 1-0 in a shootout to the Rangers that was a coin flip. Could have went either way. 3-1 to the Islanders in a game that they scored the first goal in. They beat Toronto 5-1. Obviously, quality road win there. The Carolina game, they were actually up 2-0 in the first period before losing 7-4. So those road losses don't look as bad as it would seem. And they played pretty good teams, on that road trip. Just to me, it's just way inflated based on the form we're seeing from the Vegas Golden Knights. Do they bring their A game, and do they thump Columbus 4-5-1 tonight? Perhaps. But to me, I don't like the form, and I certainly don't like them at this price, the way that form is right now for the Vegas Golden Knights. So I'm going to take that shot tonight, plus 265, Jackets. Jackets have won multiple times, by the way, in Vegas in the series history, and those were much worse Jackets teams than the one we're seeing this year.
Yeah, I get it. I mean, I get it. The Vegas does not seem very trustworthy. Now, we all know what they do. They turn it on the second half of the year, so we'll see if that happens again here. A shout out to our guy, Parl Angel. 43rd birthday today. Happy birthday to you, Parl Angel. And his son, AJ, is a phenomenal baseball player. A very, very good pitcher over in California. We're living vicariously through AJ. And he's back from injury. So can't wait for this weekend's baseball tournament. You're a great dad, Parl Angel. Have a great weekend and have a great birthday, my friend. Happy birthday to Parl Angel. Let's go into our last spot on the board in NHL and then roll into college basketball. San Jose Sharks at Seattle Kraken. The Kraken 22-27-3, 12-12-3 at home. They're not very good. Kyle Pledgerine in Seattle, Washington. Yaroslav Askarov, who I've got to figure out because I'm very high on him and it's not working. I mean, he's coming off a great performance, but I've backed him in the second half of the back-to-back against Nashville, against the team that disregarded him and ditched him. And he really, laid an egg, did not look good. Now, I'm not quite sure what we're going to get from Askarov moving forward. Thank you, James Bowman, my man. Thank you for joining us. First-time listener. Great to have you, James. So I don't know. I need more time with Askarov. We know what happens when Grubauer is in net for the Kraken. You fade them. When the court's playing very well. San Jose power play at 17.8%, penalty killing at 76.7%. Seattle power play 18.6%, penalty killing at 77.4%. Let's get into the line history here for this game. This total's at 6. It's minus 108 to the under. We've had a 3-cent move to the under. Nothing big there. And then on the money line here, we have Seattle minus 188. They opened up at minus 195 here. The Sharks opened up their 6-game road trip. Oh, no, sorry. Snap. Sorry. Let's do this again. Sharks snapped their 6-game losing. I wrote this in wrong. Sorry. I guess I was racing. Sharks snapped their 6-game losing streak in a 2-1 victory at home over the Penguins on Monday. I thought about Bobano right away. It was a perfect situation then to back the Penguins against Utah. Back the team coming off a loss to the Sharks. Now, I can't back the Penguins. I backed them once this year and I got killed. I think they're a terrible hockey team. It was the right situation for them. Now, it took overtime for them to get there, but they got there. Seattle comes in off their 3rd loss in 4 games, 6-4 at home to the Ducks on Tuesday. This is game 2 of a 5-game homestand. This is exactly where I want to fade the Sharks. Against the team that's angry, at home, comfortable, and angry. And this is a very, very nice. Oh, and wow. And I didn't realize that. Slatsy said Kraken put Grubauer on waivers yesterday. Yeah. Too late for that. But so this is a great price for the minus 1. Minus 1 was minus 125. You get it slightly better now, minus 123 or so. I'm on the Kraken on the minus 1 line. I thought about taking them on the puck line. I think the Kraken unleash with anger and win this game, which is all I need them to do. I'm on the Kraken here on the minus 1 line. Take it away, Bobano. Sharks Kraken.
Yeah. I'm trying to figure out if I want to double up on the over. I've done that with a few games here. I don't know if I'll do that here. I think I will just because we talked about Seattle with the first period overs. Long term, I believe it's something like 15-4, 16-3, something like that. But it's very strong. Now, they've had a few first period unders lately, but all of a sudden you see the last couple of games for Seattle, the Edmonton game and the Anaheim game, both of them went over in the first. Now, Grubauer had a big part of that. He was terrible in that Anaheim game. And, of course, he's now on waivers. But I could see there being goals early, goals often. San Jose, I'm not sold San Jose's back defensively just because they beat Pittsburgh 2-1. This was a team that was giving up goals in bunches, soaring over the total, first period and full game. Now, DeCord will be in for Seattle, you would think. It's Askarov for San Jose, and I still have him rated higher than Georgiev, but his recent run hasn't been great. He's got a sub-900 save percentage, even with the good performance against Pittsburgh, Askarov. So I think you're going to see goals tonight. And look at the series history with these two teams earlier this season. They played back-to-back games, 8-5 San Jose and 4-2 Seattle in the other. The other was over 5.5. This total 6. And it landed on 6. The first periods, I believe, both cashed over in those games as well. So I'm going to go ahead with an over by Facta here. Over 1.5 minus 120 first period, and over 6 minus 104 for the full game. I think it's a Seattle spot too. I just don't feel comfortable with this price, minus 1. I just don't like Seattle at this price. So
this is I should have hit this harder before setting you up, Bobano. But the Sharks, the tightening up defensively against the Penguins was mandatory because of their injuries.
Yeah.
Now I love Will Smith and Celebrini so much, and I can't wait to watch them for years to come. But right now, They've lost. Well, Mikael Granlund is sick right now, so he might be able to play, might not.
Yeah.
If he doesn't play, there's 4 centermen, not including Logan Couture. Of course, he hasn't played all year. 4 centermen out.
Yeah. Sturm, Landria, Couture, Granlund, if they're all out. Yeah.
Yeah. And then you have Kim Kloston out,
Yep.
Jan Ruda out on defense. You can't take a team with no depth, and all, so they were forced to really tighten things up.
Yep.
This is a team that if these guys are out, now Granlund probably comes back, but if these guys are out for an extended period of time, whenever you get a chance to fade the Sharks, you should. And I am here. Kraken -1. Bobano first period over 1.5 and over 6. Time to get into college basketball. Perfect time because Troy Torrance is here. But in terms of the injuries, I just don't see how they could handle this. And I know you've made so much money on the Sharks this year. You've handled them perfectly here. Now, Bobano, I sort of interrupted you there to talk about the injury report. Did you want to add anything to Sharks Kraken before we move on to college basketball?
No, just like I said, it's been goals with those two teams for the most part. They did tighten up the other night against Pittsburgh, but I think Seattle too. The fact that they scored 6, they lost to Anaheim, but they scored 4. They need more offense, and hopefully they bring that tonight because, like I said, I think there's going to be opportunities for them to score with what we've seen out of San Jose lately.
Strategic investments. The Chapiador play today is Islanders money line, and I am bullish on the other side of that. That I had to put down an extra unit on it. I know the Fedotov story. Bobano and I've gone back and forth on it, and I wish you luck. Strategic investment.
He's been marginally better lately, but he's still not great, but he's been at least marginally better lately.
Matty Ice Taint play of the day is next. No, Irish King. We're going into college basketball. NBA is last, and that's how we're always going to be doing things Tuesday through Friday. It might help us to use NCAA after NBA just so we get some cash flow information or more cash flow information, but that's the situation right now. Is always going to be NHL, NCAA, NBA. Let's roll into NCAA, and I'm coming off a poor day, 5-6. Yesterday I got back into the black. Now I'm into the red again. I cashed with Loyola Chicago +8. That was my very first spot. I sent it to Troy yesterday, the day before the game. I was like, how does this not work? Colgate -6 was a loss. Radford +3 was a loss. Now, with these teams between +12 and +15. Now, this is for me. This is me tracking my action. From teams plus even 11 to 15, but 12 to 15 is always. I only bet them first half. So I took LSU and TCU first half. Now, if I had to bet those both after the show was over, the line had moved towards both teams, I would have lost both full games. But I did cash TCU first half. Now, that's just how I handle things in college basketball. So every team between 12 and 15, I only take first halves. That's just my thing. So I went 1-1 instead of going 0-2 on them. Maryland -5.5 cashed. UIC cashed. Ole Miss lost. Mississippi State lost. Utah State first half cashed. And I was in perfect spot. I had them first half -6. They were up 9 at the half, and I needed them, to cover the 10.5 to have a winning day. They did not do that. So I lost Utah State full game. So it was a disappointing 5-6 day. Let's get into college basketball. Our friend James Bowman making his first appearance on the show. And that's something that we love too, James. When we work together, to defeat the juice. In his very first appearance, he's giving us a look. I like it. James Bowman, Roma over a half goal in the first half at -182. James Bowman making his betting with the bag debut and coming with action. I like it, James. I like it. We got more footy action too. Philly Eagle Flyer Euro double chance. Probably Lazio, Bodo, Glimt, Besiktas, Galatasaray at +640. And we have the bookie buster spot from DC Capper on Georgia State, +6.5. I've copied and pasted all the college action for everybody in the chat, so we'll do our best here to get through that and pull up your action as we go through. So let's go. Andrew G liking it. Don't you love that? A new face in the crowd automatically gives us his best bet. I love it. Oh, and strategic investments also on Georgia State. Oh, so that was first half for both. So we have the corner of Chapiadora and DC Capper Boulevard. So let me get this all set up here. So I believe I have everything ready to go. So let's set one more thing up here and then get to work. How did yesterday's NCAA action go for you, Bobano?
Oh, yesterday was excellent. Absolutely terrific yesterday. We had a lot, I'm just looking back on it. Yeah, there were some really good Illinois-Chicago was one of my favorite bets on that board yesterday against Bradley, and I loved it because they lost a tough one at home against Bradley, and then in the revenging situation. And look, UIC's been a point spread machine, and they have been a covering machine. They've been good on the road. They've been competitive on the road. Bradley, we saw in their last game, barely won by 4 against Illinois State, showing that, hey, they're winning, but they're not crushing teams. Like they're capable of it, but they haven't been doing that consistently. It was just a really good spot there for VMI was another big call for me. They won outright at Wofford. They were a 12.5 underdog in that game. VMI, man, start betting on the Keydets. Game in and game out until proven otherwise. This is a team that started off the year horrific. They were a young basketball team. And you can tell they're well coached. They've gotten better. They're not very athletic, but boy, this coach has done a great job getting everything out of that VMI team. But to win outright at Wofford's one of the better teams in that conference too. So that was a great result for me as well. Last night, it was a winning night. We had some other good ones that went well. Rutgers was another one. I like them with the points at Northwestern. And the one that was really good to me in the late night hour was Boise State laying the points against Nevada. Nevada's just not very good. And I was convinced of it. Boise off 2 losses. It was a good result there. So, yeah, profitable night. And hopefully it means a profitable day coming up here on this Thursday.
Let's roll Bobano. We have him for 47 minutes, so we should be good. We start at 6:30 p.m. Eastern with the Ohio State Buckeyes, 12-8, 4-5 in the Big Ten. At the Penn State Nittany Lions, 13-8, 3-7 in the Big Ten. We're at Bryce Jordan Center in University Park, Pennsylvania. Ohio State Buckeyes off back-to-back wins. You know, they went into Purdue and beat them 73-79 days ago. It was a very, very big win. And then on Monday, they beat up on Iowa at home, 82-65. This is a team that's just 4-5 in conference, but if they go on a run right now, you know, they have the chance in that large bid, but they got to go on a real run here. Penn State coming off back-to-back losses. Their only win was at home versus Rutgers, but they've been good at home. If you get too caught up in their road games of late, they've been playing everybody tough. They lose by 4 at Michigan. They lose by 1 at Iowa. They beat Rutgers. That's the last 3 games. They lose by 5 at Michigan State. They lose by 1 at Oregon. So if you can look past that demolishing they received by Saturated Illini back on January 8th, they've been in all these games, covering these games, and playing good basketball in these games. So both teams played on Monday. And Penn State coming back home here for this one. Let's get into the line history and hear what our guy Bobano is looking at. Penn State right now is at -4. Wow, big move. They opened up at -1.5 early in the afternoon yesterday. Now you can still get 3s. You know, this is a very sharp book that's moved it to 4. This sharp book opened it up at 6:12 p.m. at night at 2.5, moved it to 3, and then moved it to 4 17 minutes ago. So a big move towards the Nittany Lions. On the total for this one, we have a 148.5 juice to the over. This opened up right there, 148.5. It did get up to 150 for a while, but at this point we have a 5-cent move towards the over. And cash flow, 47% of the tickets on Penn State and 65% of the cash on the total, 59% of tickets and 65% cash on the over. Take it away, Bobano. Our first game on the board, Big Ten action, University Park, Pennsylvania, Penn State hosting the Buckeyes.
You look at this Penn State team, and they could have won so many more games than they have. 6-point loss to Indiana at home, 1-point loss at home to Oregon. 5-point loss on the road at Michigan State. I thought they played a hell of a game against one of the better teams in the Big Ten there. 1-point loss at Iowa. They probably should have won that game. And then a 4-point loss at Michigan in their last game. They're right there. They are due to get this win. I don't trust Ohio State still. I know they've won 2 in a row, but they had lost 3 before that to Indiana as a home favorite. They lose. They're still very flighty. They're very erratic. As people in the chat mentioned, turnovers are sometimes an issue for them. And Penn State, Mike Rhodes' team, is very solid at forcing them. I think it's a great type of spot to back Penn State at home. Still have a very good home record. to get a big time, and they need a win. They need something to boost that resume in the worst way. So I expect the utmost sense of urgency here from the Nittany Lions after a bunch of close calls. I'm going to go ahead and do something I don't do very often. I'm just going to take the money line and lay a bigger price. It's minus 154 at Bet Rivers, Penn State money line. I don't want to screw around with the 3.5, 4, because I could see this being a one-possession game. But I do like Penn State. You can lay it if you want. I could see Penn State winning by margin, but they're not always the type of team to win by margin. So I'm going to go just money line. I do think they win this basketball game. When I bet the money line, it was overnight. It was minus 135, so it's already moved a lot. But minus 154, I will lock that in. Penn State money line.
You got it. Minus 154. By the way, this is the corner of Bobano and Taint Boulevard, fresh off cashing with Rutgers. Taint play today yesterday. Taint play today. Penn State minus 2.5. Shout out to our guy Matty Ice. I hear everybody so bullish on Penn State, and it makes sense to me. I look to see if there's a chance, could I get a 3 right now? I can pay for a 3. I'm going to wait a little bit here. And if that means I price myself out, that's okay. But I just want to sit with it with everybody on the Nittany Lions side. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. 6:30 p.m. Eastern, we had the Youngstown, Ohio, home of the Penguins. Youngstown State Penguins hosting the Wright State Raiders. Raiders 5-6 in the horizon, and the Penguins 7-4 in the horizon. Let's get into the line history. This is another 6:30 start right before things get wild. This total's at 148. It's juiced to the under. It opened up at 147. It dropped down to 146 before climbing to 148. It is a juice to the under. On the point spread here for our second spot on the board. Come on, here we go. We have Youngstown State minus 2.5, minus 105. Interesting and fishy. This was a 1.5. It opened at 1.5 minus 108. It took 15 hours for there to be a move towards Youngstown State. And now there's a move. Now there's a 1-point move, although it's juiced towards Wright State. I find that very fishy here. Let's take a look at the cash flow. 61% of the ticket, 64% of the cash on the over, and no help from the money on the spread, unfortunately. And when we touch on the rest situation, the Raiders played on Saturday. Youngstown State played on Friday. Youngstown State back playing a Div 2 game. That was early. It was an early matinee game for them, a Div 2 college. But against Div 1 schools, they are coming off of a loss against Robert Morris at home, 72-70. Robert Morris 7-4 in conference as well. Wright State won 2 of their last 3. The last 2 at home. They lose to Milwaukee by 16. But then on Saturday, they beat up on Detroit Mercy 67-50. Now Detroit Mercy above Green Bay, but at the bottom of the ledger. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Wright State Raiders, Youngstown State Penguins.
This is definitely styles make fights for me from a side and a totals perspective in this game. 9-1 to the over between these two teams head to head. When they get together, there's points. I've seen some wild, crazy games with these two, especially last year. There's been some really high scoring affairs. Efficiency goes up. Both teams will play with some pace, especially Wright State. So I definitely like over in this game with Youngstown and Wright State. Like I said, 9 of the last 10 meetings have gone over, and it's 146.5, minus 114 with this over. And that's actually one of the lower totals we've seen in the recent series. And a part of that is because Youngstown has struggled at times offensively throughout the course of the Horizon League season. But they have not had issues scoring against Wright State. And I like Youngstown State from a side perspective. I'm also betting them here in this game, minus 130 on the money line at DraftKings, Youngstown State. Youngstown State has dominated Wright State. You look at it, Youngstown State has won 3 straight and covered 3 straight against Wright State. They've won 8 of the last 10. They're 7-3 against the spread in those games. Wright State's nothing to. They're a very good team on their home floor. They're the Nutter Center. I love it, the Nutter Center. Who doesn't love that as a name of an arena? But On the road, they've been a bit of a different beast. They lost at Robert Morris. They lost at Cleveland State by double digits. They were favorites at Eastern Michigan on the road. They lost outright 86-82. Eastern Michigan's not very good. So I think there's a winnable game for Youngstown at home. They only have to win the game, and they've dominated Wright State in recent meetings. So 2 bets here. Youngstown money line over 146.5.
You are in. So the reason why, because, trying to pick which games are going to be interesting, for everybody. How does this make sense? Youngstown State, and JP's talking about it, goes into Wright State on December 18th as 6.5-point dogs, beats them by 10. Wright State shot fine. They just played a little sloppy, and then we come back and, Youngstown State at home is this small of a favorite. You have a team that's 13-9 against 11-11. I know that doesn't mean much. 2 games ahead of them in the conference.
And I like my revenge spots, but it's just been dominance. Like I can't really look past that. I mean, they've won 5 in a row, and a lot of these wins too. If you look at it, 10-point win, 11-point win, 10-point win, 11-point win. There's only one game that's been close. There was an overtime game on this floor, 91-89, February 2 years ago, and Youngstown won it. That's it. So the way I see it, with that kind of series history, I only need Youngstown State to win the basketball game. I'm going to take it. Now, if they were laying 5 or 6, I'd maybe be a little more cautious or stay off. But I mean, only asking them to win the game to me there's been too many problems and too many duds on the road for Wright State for my liking.
So, I mean, wouldn't you expect a 4.5 or a 5? I mean, you had no uncomfort seeing this at a -1.5.
It's because Youngstown, I think, is if you look at their recent games, they've lost 3 of their last 5, and the last win was against also ran like a Division III team or something, 112-63. So you throw that out, but they lost to Cleveland, Milwaukee, Robert Morris in their last home game. They haven't been covering point spreads of late either. I think those results are playing into why this line is shorter.
Shorter. This line is very
really
short.
Yeah.
So they're saying in a neutral site, Wright State would be the favorite.
Yep.
This is okay. I've got to spend more time with this spot here. Bobano and Youngstown State money line -130 and the over 146 and a half. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board. 6:30 p.m. Eastern. A little more action here for us early. We have Towson, Delaware. Now, we've heard from cappers in the chat, the Skunt Blaster play of the day is Delaware money line at +120. Delaware money line at +120. So let's roll into this one. I'm trying to make sure that just let me know if I miss anybody's action if we get to a big game and I haven't talked about it. The Towson Tigers rolling right now. Absolutely rolling. This basketball team is first in conference right now, delivering the goods. They have now won 6 straight games, coming off a 75-65 win on Monday at Northeastern. They're the home game against Stony Brook and Hofstra were tight, and Drexel in overtime, but they've been delivering the goods, and that was the second time that they had beaten Northeastern. When they beat Northeastern by 10, they were just 1.5-point dogs. People thought that some Rebenga would be. Towson was up 41-29 at the half. They were in complete control. So Towson clearly playing very good basketball. Then we have the Blue Hens of Delaware off of 2 straight losses on the road. They lose to Drexel, who's just 4-4 in conference, by 13. That was on Saturday, so they have a 2-day rest advantage. They lose to Hofstra badly by 25 points. Hofstra's 3-5 in conference. Now, you go back to when they were at home, the last 2 games at home. They beat Elon, who are 5-3, by 2 points. They get past Stony Brook by 10, but Stony Brook is just ahead of North Carolina A&T at the bottom of the conference. So Delaware coming off 2 bad games, and Towson rolling. Let's take a look at the line history here for this one. We have the Juice in the house saying he is not fading Towson. Dr. Boobies says Towson is shooting the lights out. They might score 90+ tonight. Let's get into the line history. This is Towson -2.5. That's exactly where it opened. Since it's opened, there's been a 5-cent move towards the Blue Hens. I mean, just fishy, which obviously makes me sort of gravitate towards Delaware. This total's at 145.5 market wide. I'm looking at 145, but it's minus 120 to the over. So we've had 10 cents of movement to the over. That's it. We're unlikely to get any information on the cash flow, but we might get some on the total. And we are on the total. This has 68% of tickets, 70% cash on the over. Take it away, Bobano. Very, very interesting one here. Towson Tigers, Delaware Blue Hens.
Yeah, there's absolutely zero way I'm fading Towson, but I am a little quizzical of where this line is right now. And it is, and the one thing that does concern me too is Towson played Monday night at Northeastern, 75-65. Second road game in 4 nights. They'd play on Monday a road game, now a Thursday road game, and here's Delaware. They haven't played since Saturday. And 2 straight road losses. So spot-wise, Delaware has the edge. But Towson's a machine right now. They are shooting the ball well. They are scoring, and their defense it's nails right now. They haven't given up more than 67 in 4 straight games. They've beaten good team. Northeastern's a good team in this conference. They went on the road and beat them. They beat Hofstra as well. They're a machine right now. Pat Scary's a hell of a coach. And speaking of scary, Towson is scary right now. Scary enough that I want no part of betting against them. That being said, I don't love this spot for Towson. And Delaware with off since Saturday, and Towson's playing a second road game in 4 days, and that's enough to keep me off Towson, even though I think they're the better team. And they won at Delaware last year as well, so it's a pass for me.
Yeah, it's very, very difficult for me not to back Delaware here. I plan to, but I'm certainly not going to do it as soon as the game, as soon as our show ends. I want to sit with it for longer. But these 2 games I wanted to discuss here because I felt the lines were so fishy here. And yes, a nasty Nate, you did miss the taint play today. It is Penn State minus 2.5. That's gone to 4 at some books. You can still get a 3.5. Okay, fascinating. God, this is just so fishy. It just makes me want to back the Blue Hens. Also, if Towson gets off to a good start, maybe they fade down the stretches. Delaware look live as well. I can't help it. I expect Delaware to be on my card again. This is another line that really doesn't make any sense to me. And I imagine when the cash flow numbers come out,
I just think they're the better team. They're rolling. That's enough to keep me off the game, off Delaware. But the spot is enough to keep me off Towson.
Yeah, no, well put. Well put. Okay, let's roll on. Next up for us, we head to the Conference USA, 7:30 p.m. Eastern with the New Mexico State Aggies, 11-9, 4-3 in conference. The Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders, 14-6, 5-2 in conference. Murphy Center in Murfreesboro, Tennessee. New Mexico State has lost 3 straight games. The third of those 3 was at home versus Jacksonville State. They had just lost at home to Kennesaw State on the Thursday, and then lost to Jacksonville State on the Saturday. So they've lost 3 straight basketball games. Middle Tennessee just had their winning streak snapped in a 75-69 loss at Louisiana Tech. Louisiana Tech's not a bad team, 4-4 in conference, 15-6 overall. But that was a 75-69 loss. So both teams coming off of losses. The Middle Tennessee loss, they were 2.5-point dogs. They shot just 28% from 3. They played clean basketball, but they got dominated on the boards by the Bulldogs, and that set them up for a loss. So New Mexico State losers of 3 straight. Middle Tennessee having their winning streak snapped. Let's get into the line history here for this one, popping off at 7:30, and we have the total at 140.5, juice to the over. This opened up at 140.5. So we've had 8 cents of movement towards the over. So we'll see it climb at a couple books from the 140.5. And then on the spread, we have Middle Tennessee -7 and -110. They opened up at -7 and -108. So we have a 2-cent move towards Middle Tennessee. When we get to the cash flow here, we have on the total 53% of tickets, 54% of the cash on the under, and sadly no information on the spread. Take it away for us, Bobano. Aggies, Blue Raiders.
Middle Tennessee's a machine at home. They are actually one of the better, stronger mid-major home court advantages going. 8-1 this year. They were just phenomenal at home last year, the Blue Raiders. You look at what they've done at home. They're on they're 8-1 this year at home. They beat a good Lipscomb team on this court, beat Kennesaw State by 5. Jacksonville State, 5.5-point favorite. They won by 17. Western Kentucky's a good team. Middle Tennessee was laying 6 against them at home. They won by 14. It's been a powerful home court. They're coming off a tough loss against a very good Louisiana Tech team on the road. Bounce back spot on this dominant home court. And to me, New Mexico State is floundering. 0-3 straight up, 0-3 against the spread. They've lost to Liberty, Kennesaw State, Jacksonville State, 2 of those games at home. I think this is lay it or don't play it, and I'm laying it. -6.5, -120 on MTSU.
Bobano making moves. We have Middle Tennessee State, the Middle Tennessee Blue Raiders.
Yep.
At -6.5.
They won here by 7 last year, 76-69. I think they win by 7 or more this year. I think they win by double digits, honestly. They beat Western Kentucky by 14 at home. Western Kentucky's better than New Mexico State.
Yeah, it makes sense. It makes sense. I'm going to keep an eye on the market, and I'm going to take another look at that spot. Bobano moving on the Blue Raiders. We roll on. We head to the Summit League. Very fun basketball game in the Summit League coming up at 8
Oh,
p.m.
wait a minute.
Eastern
I was just going to
tonight.
say we can get -115 on that -6.5. So a little better price at Bet Online. So
Sorry. So -116?
-115 on the -6.5. Yep.
You are in. You are in here. The respect play of the day is Liberty -1.5. Now it has moved to 2, but the respect play today is in as well. And the Juice predicting Middle Tennessee winning, but the Aggies covering. My first thought was to back Middle Tennessee first half if I wasn't going to, because that feels like they're going to be an angry group ready to fire. But I'm curious that line hasn't moved. So interesting, and I'm going to keep firing away. Yes, sadly, Billy, I'm against the respect play today, but we're going to be breaking that one down here together. But first, we head to the Summit League. South Dakota State Jackrabbits 14-8, 5-2 in conference versus the North Dakota State Bison 16-6, also 5-2 in conference. We are in Fargo, North Dakota for this one. Both teams winning basketball games. We have South Dakota State coming off destroying South Dakota 90-71 at home. They have won 4 straight games. It's the Tommies and Omaha up front in this conference at 7-1, and then these 2 teams are next at 5-2. North Dakota State rolling 5 straight wins. Just beat North Dakota on Saturday. Beat them 87-82. Now, not a very good North Dakota team this year. So the North Dakota State was 9.5-point favorites. Opened up at 10.5, closed at 9.5, and just barely took care of business, winning 87-82. So both teams winning. Let's get into the line history here for this spot. This one pops off at 8 p.m. Summit League action. We have, come on, there's that Kennesaw spot. We have North Dakota State -2.5 at -109. They opened up -3. This opened up at 6:19 p.m. They were -4 at 10:33 p.m. So we've had buyback on South Dakota State, a half-point move now towards the Jackrabbits. Let's get into the total for this spot and then hand it over. We don't get cash flow information on the side, unfortunately, but we do probably on the total. 156.5 is the total. It is juiced to the under. This has come up from 154.5. So a big move there. When we get to the total, do we get cash flow information? Yes, 53% of tickets, 54% cash on the under. Take it away for us here, Bobano, a little Summit League action.
Yeah, I lean North Dakota State, but I don't love the price enough. Like the money line is upwards of -145, -150 with North Dakota State. But on the home floor, they're 8-3, and the problem I have with South Dakota State this year, the road record. And I know some of these games were Alabama, Colorado, some big power conference teams, but even here in Summit League, lose to St. Thomas, losing straight up ATS on the road at Omaha. And then at UMKC, they were 4-point road favorites. They won by 4 there. So they haven't been great at ATS on the road here in this one. But so I definitely lean to the North Dakota State side here. Let me see if I can get a little better price, maybe I'll take it. But let me just see what we're at. Actually, you know what? It's down to minus 142 at Pinnacle. I'll lock it in at that price, minus 142 North Dakota State. I also like over. I think this could be in the 160s. Quite honestly, this total here. We've seen some real shootouts between these two rivals, and it's been historically a little bit more of a offensive type of showdown when it's these two teams going head-to-head. I think you're probably going to see more of the same here. I go to and look at, again, a website that I talk about a lot, Bart Torvik. They've got this total more toward 158 here between these two teams. So to be able to get in the mid-150s, I like that. So over 154.5, minus 110 with the total.
You are locked in. North Dakota State money line minus 142. The over 154.5 at minus 110.
I think this year they're better than South Dakota State too, and we haven't been able to say that in the past.
And we have Skunt Blaster agreeing with you completely, and he's tied those two together in an SGP. North Dakota State money line over 153.5. That's at plus.
Mike
2.
Dom ain't walking through that door for the Jackrabbits this year.
Where is he anyways? Is he in Europe?
I think he is. I think he's playing Euroball. Yeah. He was a great player for that South Dakota State team.
He was phenomenal. What a beast. All right, let's roll on. 8 p.m. Eastern, the UTEP Miners head back to the Conference USA for this one. 15-5, 5-2 in conference. The Western Kentucky Hilltoppers 12-8, 3-4 in conference. So I expected to be on the Hilltoppers in this game, but the market didn't mesh last night, but I still wanted to talk it out. UTEP's won 3 of 4, coming off a 73-71 home win over Kennesaw State. These Hilltoppers just played 3 straight games on the road. When you go back home, they lost to Jacksonville State, who are a good team, 5-2 in conference. They beat Kennesaw State, who I think is a good team, 85-69 at home. Then they had 3 games on the road against the upper echelon, other than
he plays in the EuroLeague for a Serbian team, Mike Dom. Yep.
Oh, wow. I'll check out his stats here. At Middle Tennessee State, we know they're 5-2 in conference. They lose 71-57. They lose to Louisiana Tech. You just heard Bobano talking about how good La Tech is, even though they're just 4-4 in conference. And then they play Sam Houston State, who is at the bottom of the ledger, 1-7, but they win by 10 points. And now they come back home. I had expected to be on them, and I'm not sure if that's going to end up being the case. Let's get into the line history here for this one. This totals at 146.5. It's minus 111 to the over. It opened up at 148. And then when we get to the spread for this spot, we have Western Kentucky minus 2.5 and minus 114. They opened up at minus 3.5. We've had a 1-point move towards UTEP. I don't find that appealing at all. There was no cash information earlier. I'm not sure if we're going to get any now. Let's see if we can get something here for the Hilltoppers spot. We do know the total's a 50-50 situation, 50% of the tickets and 49% of cash on the over. And on the spread, no help. I was surprised that this line was moving towards the Miners. It felt like this is being a situation that's worked really well for me. You know, a 3-4 team in the conference who's, not stepped up here with a hugely important game in Bowling Green, Kentucky for the Hilltoppers. I thought they were the spot. Maybe it's not. Take it away for us, Bobano. Miners, Hilltoppers.
Yeah, you look at UTEP here. They're off the home win against Kennesaw, 73-71. We'll see how they fare on the road, though. You know what? Believe it or not, they've been good on the road. They knocked off Liberty as an 8-point dog, 72-70. They won and covered as a small road favorite against FIU. No letdown after that. So this team's actually been good here, at least in conference play. They've been good on the road. Western Kentucky, meanwhile, they're only 2-4 in their last 6 games. It's a Western Kentucky spot, but I like the form of UTEP right now a little bit better. So just like the Towson game, right? I don't want to go against UTEP. They're playing pretty well, but to me, it's a Western Kentucky spot, and the home record for them is still pretty good. So it's a pass for me. Confliction.
I was thinking about Troy's work here. He's road dogs between +1 and +3 line moving towards them in a non-power 5, 11-3 against the spread. So he's on UTEP +3 and the money line. Let's move on to a spot that I did bet, and I am very nervous about the market move. I could have easily waited. I did not wait. I wish I had. I'm with Billy Friedrich, but he's got Kennesaw State +4.5 and the money line. I got +3. There aren't threes anymore. I was hoping that this line would continue to move towards Kennesaw State, and that is not the case. So I'm extremely concerned about the situation. We have 3.5s now. Now, when you go back to this database that Troy has, this is still moving towards Kennesaw State. So at least we still have a half point move towards Kennesaw State. When I moved at 3, it was at 3.65. Offshores, it had moved to 2.5. This was last night. It was moving so quickly last night. I was like, I got to get on it. And of course, there ended up being no reason for me to do that. Let's get to this total here. We're not going to get any cash flow information at this point, but I've bet it and I'm in. When we get to the total, we have a 148 minus 113 to the under, and this has come up from 146. So we've had a 2-point move. As I said, no information on the spread, but we do have on the total 59% of the tickets and 59% of the cash. This was similar to the Western Kentucky spot where I thought, what a great spot for these Owls. They're coming off a back-to-back road games. They're coming off the 73-71 loss at UTEP where they played really well, and they're coming back home. We watched them beat Louisiana Tech at home in their last home game, 78-76. You have Liberty off of 2 straight wins. They beat New Mexico State at home, 68-60. And then on Saturday, they beat up on Florida International. One of the worst teams. They're 1-6 in conference here. This is exactly where I'd want to back Kennesaw State. And I did. But good God, I would have rather had this +3.5 or 4. Take it away for us, Bobano. This is the only bet I made pre-show. Kennesaw State Owls for me. Floor is yours.
Yeah, I'm in agreement. Kennesaw State. Ooh, the Owls here of Kennesaw State. I like them. 9-0 at home here. I don't think this is as good as Richie McKay's had with Liberty in the past. I think they're still pretty solid, but what I see from this Liberty team is they're not nearly the same defensive shutdown juggernaut. I think offense, it's kind of weird that I think they've gotten better offensively. They're worse defensively. Where in years past, offensively, they haven't been always great, but they've been just tough to score against because they've been elite at that end of the basketball court defensively. I don't think that is the same here for Liberty this year. I don't think they're as good defensively. And that's probably why their games have gone over, too, lately. 4 of the last 5 have gone over. I think a big part of that is because they're just not quite as good defensively as they've been in the past. You mentioned the strong home court. They beat Louisiana Tech, arguably the best team in this conference, 78-76 on the home court as well. So the fact we get Kennesaw here, Kennesaw's +4.5, -118 right now at FanDuel. That is staggering to me that I can get for just that cheap a price, -118, that I can get them at +4.5. And I'm definitely not passing up that opportunity. So Kennesaw for me, +4.5, -118.
You got it. You are locked and loaded. There were so many fun games to choose from, and I did my best to pick the spots that we wanted to attack. This is a real fun one in Big Sky Conference. We have Portland State Vikings 13-7, 5-2 in conference at the Montana Grizzlies 13-8, 6-2 in conference. We're at Dahlberg Arena in Missoula, Montana. Portland State's won 3 straight games. They come off of beating Idaho State, not a bad team, and they beat them badly, 76-59. They beat up on Weber State, a bad team this year over there for the Wildcats. And then they beat up on Northern Arizona, 3 straight wins. That loss was at Northern Colorado, and they only lost by 3 to the number 1 team in the conference. Montana, on the other hand, they've won 2 straight, but they also lost to Northern Colorado at home, but they lost by 24 points. This is a team also coming off back-to-back wins, though. Montana State and Idaho. Idaho is 4-4. Montana State just 3-5 in conference. So Montana off of 2 straight wins. Portland State off of 3 straight wins. and have done the better job in their mutual games. So let's roll here. We get into the line history here for this spot popping off at 9 p.m. We have the total at 145.5. It's minus 112 to the over. It's open at 144.5. And when we get to the point spread here, let's get this up. From a point spread situation, we've got here we go. Montana minus 3.5 at minus 111. So this opened up at 3. It just moved to 3.5 at 11:23 a.m. This line's been available since 6:30 p.m. yesterday. When we get to the cash flow for this spot, we're very, very likely not going to receive any information. We do have the total, though. Just 33% of tickets and 33% of cash on the over. And on the spread, no information. A couple of things here, James Bowman. I can ask that to Bobano. He is our expert here. We're also getting IPFW from Kong's clips that I'll copy and paste. And Zoe, I love that the schedule for every capper watching the show is in the description. And if you copy and paste, again, you'll have every single game, every single record, and where it's being played. And then you can fill your notes underneath. That's been the thought all along, was that it would set everybody up to watch for an easy worksheet. Take it away, though, Bobano. Vikings, Grizzlies in Missoula, Montana.
Really a good matchup because Portland State has really turned things on here in conference play. They've played really well. Their only losses were at Northern Colorado on the road, who are a pretty solid team, and then at Sacramento State. Other than that, though, home wins against Idaho, Eastern Washington, big road win against Northern Arizona. 80-69 too, as Northern Arizona a little bit better this year as well. And then, of course, the back-to-back home wins against Weber State and Idaho State, and winning those by double digits. In fact, each of Portland State's last 4 victories have been by double digits. They're playing outstanding basketball. They're on a point spread streak of 6 straight, 8-1 in their last 9 ATS. It's Portland State or pass for me, but my one concern is Montana 10-1. Dahlberg Arena is a tough place to play. They're very good on this floor. And series history, this is where Portland State has had some issues. They have lost 4 straight at Montana, majority of them by margin. It's kind of one of those deals where I love the form, but there's been a consistently tough matchup for them. They have not had any recent success at Montana, and that's probably enough to keep me off the Vikings here.
Yeah, it's in the... I'm a little surprised the line's moving towards the Grizzlies. I'm going to have to take a little more time on that one. But let's roll on. We just heard from our guy, Kong's Clips. He says, I really like IPFW today. Well, let's go to Fort Wayne, Indiana for our next spot, Memorial Coliseum. And I will ask you that question, Bobano, from Jim Bowman. That's how we'll close up shop. Wondering about that Coastal Carolina team total. He's asking about it in the chat. Just want to say that out loud so I remember asking about the Coastal Carolina under 16.5 team total. James Bowman, his first time with us here on the show. But let's get into this one. This is a fun one at 9 p.m. We have IPFW being looked at here very closely by our Kong's Clips. They bounced back from that loss at Oakland, by beating Indianapolis. The Jaguars taking them out. And now Jaguars aren't a very good team. IPFW was 8.5 point favorites, but they played very well. They were out rebounded, but 56.6 from the field and 45.5 from 3. So you got the bounce back from IPFW, who will be home for the first time since the 11th of January. But Cleveland State is just rolling right now, beating everybody in their way. They have a massive winning streak right now that has reached 12 games. Now you could cut 2. They beat Div 1 opponents in 10 straight games, but this is a team that is absolutely rolling. They closed the season with IPFW in conference play as well. So this is the first time these teams have met. Let's get this year. Let's get into the line history here for this one. We have Purdue Fort Wayne -5 and -101. Interesting. It's a team that's on a 10-game winning streak. This line opened up at 4. It's now moved to 5. I mean, this is fascinating. from a total standpoint here, and I imagine we're going to get no cash flow information again, but from a total standpoint, we have a 148.5. I see 149 is mostly market wide. This 148.5 is juiced to minus 118. So there's been 8 cents of movement towards it. And again, we're not going to get any cash flow information, but I will see if we can get some on the total. On the total right now, we have 46% tickets, 45% cash on the over. Take it away for us, Bobano, a little Horizon League action with the Mastodons hosting the Vikings.
Yeah, this is actually a great matchup. Really is here with these two teams. Gosh, Cleveland State is playing great. They've won 10 in a row against Division I foes, 12 in a row overall, 7-1-1 against the spread their last 9 games, and they're 4-0 straight up, 4-0 against the spread in the last 4 meetings against IPFW. So they have owned this series, and yet here's Purdue-Fort Wayne, 4.5 up to 5. The money's come in on them here in this game, and I like this Fort Wayne team a lot, enough to not go against them. So I don't think I want any part of the side here. But I think if I were to bet something, I'd probably lean Vikings. 10 in a row. They've won and covered 4 straight against the Mastodons, this Vikings team. They've clearly had the better series history for sure. And like I said, I think Fort Wayne, though, comes into this with a chance to win it. They have a very strong home court as well. Let's not sugarcoat that. 9-0 undefeated home record this year for Purdue-Fort Wayne. It's just a really tough side. I mean, I don't want to step in front of a team that's won 10 in a row, 7-1-1 against the spread, but I kind of feel that Purdue-Fort Wayne this time around, unlike the previous meetings against Cleveland State, they might be the better team and obviously a very strong home court. So I'm off the side. I do like this total, though, over the total. Purdue-Fort Wayne's been trending over the total lately. 4 straight overs. 5 of the last 6 have gone over. You look at the past meetings, we've seen 147, 153 points. I think Purdue-Fort Wayne's going to get their pace, especially at home. Their games have had more possessions and more scoring, more efficiency, particularly from Purdue-Fort Wayne. So I think the total is the best way to go about it here, and I'm on over 148.5 minus 105.
Over 148.5 at minus 105. All right, that leads us to the Big West. You have done an excellent job with the UC Riverside Highlanders. I must add them into our schedule every opportunity that we get. We see if we can get any information, Cash. Very unlikely. Now, we do have some information on the total, but I would presume we're not going to get any on the side. Let me just check here quickly before we get this one rolling. No, we will have information on the big spots, and we'll do a rapid fire just to hear what Boban is on. But we have 2 games to get through, this one and one more, and we have 6 minutes to do it. So let's set this one up. These UC Davis Aggies right now. This total's at 139. It's minus 112 to the under. This opened at 138.5. So we moved a half point towards the over. On the point spread, come on, here we go. On the point spread here for these late Big West games, which I love very much, UC Riverside is a -5 at minus 109. They opened up at -6. So we've had this 1-point move towards UC Davis. That's won 3 games in a row. They haven't played since beating Hawaii at home last Thursday. UC Riverside did have a game on Saturday. UC Riverside's won 3 straight. This is the first meeting between these 2 teams. Take it away for us here, Bobano. Aggies, Highlanders.
I like Riverside a lot, but now, a lot of these games that I've been on them, they've been catching points. Now they're laying points, but they are 8-1 at home. Are they ready for it? It's going to be the question. They beat UC San Diego, the Tritons, by 4 at home. Irvine by 4 at home. Those were outright as dogs. Last time they were home favorites, they lost outright to Hawaii. I mean, I don't know. A weird feeling here about taking Riverside tonight in this spot, but I'm certainly not betting against them. They've been obviously a machine ATS this year, 12-6-1 against the number. But you look at UC Davis. They've played better lately. 4 wins in their last 5 games. They've gone on the road and gotten wins as dogs outright against Santa Barbara, the Gauchos, and Cal Poly, the Mustangs, winning both of those games on the road outright as underdogs. And then they returned home and they beat Hawaii. Clear pass for me. I mean, I'm not going against my Riverside Highlanders, but they've not been nearly as good. The last time they were home favorite, they lost. And Davis has been starting to really do well themselves in the road dog role. So, yeah, I'm off this game.
I find the Aggies extremely appealing here. I'm going to wait a little bit, but I find, and I'd love to get cash flow information very, very much here. We have action in from Troy, Torrance as well. Penn State, Illinois, William and Mary, UTEP +3 in the money line, Kennesaw State +4.5, and Tulane +6. So let me get that copied and pasted so we can discuss throughout. Okay, let's move on to our final spot on the board here. Then we'll just do a very quick rapid-fire spot. But we have 10 p.m. action. Cal State, Northridge, Matadors, CSUN, 13-7, 5-4 in the Big West at the UC Santa Barbara. Gauchos, 13-7, also 5-4 because we're at the Thunderdome here for this spot. CSUN coming off the loss to UC San Diego. I mean, there's no shame in that. UC San Diego 7-2 in conference, but they lost badly, 79-54. It snapped a 2-game winning streak. They were 10.5-point dogs, and they got annihilated, 41-22 at the half, 38-32 after the full game. They shot 32.8 from the field, 14.3 from 3, and had 17 turnovers. Just a horrific performance. And Santa Barbara also lost to UC San Diego. Lost them bad, 77-63. Bounced back and beat CS Fullerton 83-75 on Saturday. So that's the situation here, which makes the Matadors appealing in a bounce back spot. Rick J, my man, we'll be talking about that spot here shortly. So don't worry about that. We'll have that one locked and loaded. This has got Cal State Northridge +2. The problem is they opened up as 1-point favorites. So the Gauchos have gone from +1 to -2, the old dog to favorite scenario. And on the total, we have, move back to on this total, we have it sitting at 147. That's higher than most books. They just moved it to, I guess right when the show started. This opened at 146. It's now 147. Take it away for us, Bobano. Final spot on the board. Matadors, Gauchos at the Thunderdome.
I think Northridge might be the better team. Santa Barbara is actually on a point spread skid, 0-5 ATS their last 5. Northridge has won 3 of the last 4. One thing that's going to keep me off taking Northridge, though, is the fact that it was a Dollar Loan Center, Henderson, Nevada conference tournament, Big West tournament win for Northridge in overtime last year against Santa Barbara. And this is the first meeting since then. This is a circled spot for the Gauchos. I'm sure of it. And I think that's what the betting markets are seeing and flipping the favorites here. Not to mention Santa Barbara does have a winning home record and Northridge so-so on the road. So I was initially looking at Northridge, but I'm passing. I think it's a good spot, actually, for Barbara.
Yeah, I mean, the market is certainly letting us know that.
But I don't think Barbara's the better team, so I'm not betting them.
Okay, Bobano, thank you for all that you've done for us. We got a couple very, very...
You're going to the 3 games that Cabby's talking about?
Yeah.
I actually have plays in all 3 games, so I'm going to give them to you right now, quickly, rapid fire, and make them official. Just quickly. I'm just going to go quick with them. Illinois, Nebraska. I'm on Illinois. I don't like what I'm seeing out of Nebraska right now. -3.5, -104 is the best price and number right now with Illinois. They went through their little funk there, but they beat Northwestern last game, and I think things are starting to fall apart a little bit for Nebraska. I've not liked anything I've seen out of them for Fred Hoiberg's team, so I'm on that. Memphis, Tulane. Come on, Jimmy. You know we've been fading Memphis on this show week in and week out. We're doing that again. I love Tulane tonight with Ron Hunter at home as an underdog, getting 6.5, -105 at FanDuel. This is one of my strongest bets on the card tonight, Tulane, +6.5, -105. It's a bigger unit bet for me. on this slate. Been fading Memphis. Memphis is coming off the perfect performance against UAB. It's the first time they've covered as a favorite in a long time, but they made every shot. They were 50% from three. They didn't turn the ball over. They did things that Memphis rarely does. It was like the perfect game. And I don't mind fading teams off the perfect performance. And it felt like Memphis had one of those against UAB. Now they got to go on the road. Go do that on the road now against a pretty good Tulane team. So I like Tulane there. And then the Oregon-UCLA game that you're going to talk about with Cab, this is where I like Oregon. Catching points on the road. They start to lose a couple games, maybe not play their best. I know UCLA has turned things around. They've won a few in a row here, and now they're at Pauley Pavilion looking to beat Oregon, who are kind of slumped a little bit the last few games, but this is where I want to back Oregon. They're still a very talented team. I think you get a great effort from Dana Altman's group tonight. We'll take Oregon here, plus 4.5, minus 110. There you go.
Oregon plus 4.5, minus 110. Excellent work. I'm not sure if it's possible to answer this question, in less than 20 seconds, but James Bowman wondering what you thought about the Coastal Carolina team total under 60.5. They're at James Madison. They're in the throes of this huge losing streak. Last two games, 58 against Georgia Southern, 52 against Old Dominion. Do you have any thoughts on Coastal Carolina scoring here in this one against the Dukes?
I wouldn't be betting it over. That is for sure. And we have seen James Madison, be good defensively at home. In the past, they gave up just 58 to App State, 64 to Marshall, 62 to Arkansas State's a really good team. They only gave up 62 at home to Arkansas State. So I have a hard time expecting Coastal Carolina to score. I didn't bet it, but I wouldn't argue with it.
I love it. Bobano, I'll review all of your action. Thank you for all of your hard work. Have a great Ice Guys show. Thursdays, every Thursday, Bobano starring here on Betting with the Bag. Also, of course, star of the Ice Guys, star of Hitting the Books YouTube channel, and the NBA OG show. And follow him on X at Bobano Bets. Bobano, any last words for the Cappers supporting the show, my friend?
No, just we love the support. We appreciate you guys tuning in. Good luck with all your wagers tonight. Jimmy, same to you. Hit the like button, everyone watching. It's always fun to be with you Thursday on Betting with the Bag. Cash some tickets, and we'll see you next week.
Here he is, Ian Cameron in the house. We roll on to our next three games. This is how I would like to – I'm still figuring out how to make these shows perfect. And so one thing I'm going to be doing is this situation. So when Cab's got best bets, or if Wine Time has best bets, I'm going to have them after Bobano so we can stretch a little bit more college basketball, especially on days where we only have 5 NBA games. So that is the situation here. Your next guest swept the board, a little board sweepage last night, which was wonderful to see. Please welcome to the show the star of Medicate Mondays and the star of the Starting Five, our guy, Mr. Daby Cab, to the show. Daby, how are you?
Oh man, always good after a board sweepage, but it don't matter. It don't matter no more, Jimmy. I always say this: whether you have a board sweep or a reverse sweep, whatever it is, the next day is always more important. And here we are. So we got to cash today.
Yeah, win your next bet. That's the only thing that matters here. Let's roll, Daby Cab, because we have saturated champing at the bit here to talk about his Fighting Illini. 14-6, 6-4 in the Big Ten. Winners of just 2 of their last 5 basketball games. They've certainly come back to earth. We just heard that Bobano is backing them here today. And they're facing the Nebraska Cornhuskers, 12-8, just 2-7 in conference. We're at Pinnacle Bank Arena in Lincoln, Nebraska. Now, we have heard from Cappers on Nebraska. And let's find out who was that. Where do I have? Okay, I'm going to have to keep looking. I know we have Nebraska action here. Maybe it's Billy Friedrich's added action. I'll have to. No, he's not on Nebraska. Okay, I'll find out. I did see Nebraska being backed here by somebody, but let's roll into this one. The Cornhuskers in the throes of a mighty losing streak, and that performance at Wisconsin was horrific. Losers of 6 straight basketball games, which is interesting because it comes on the heels of a 6-game winning streak. 6 wins, now 6 losses, and some ugly. They lost 104-68 at Purdue, and then they just lost 83-55 at Wisconsin. Now, there were 3 games in between where they looked okay. I mean, they lose 85-82 at home to Rutgers. No real excuse to that. Oh, it's Stacks. Thank you. Thank you, Jose. Stacks play of the day. That's at the very top of my. I wish I put everything down at the bottom. That is the Stacks play of the day from our guy, Justin McKelvey. Now, that's just Stacks number 1. Stacks number 2 is in the association, so we'll be talking about that shortly. But shout out to our guy, Justin McKelvey. Stacks play today. Nebraska plus 4.5.
Stacks.
We have a total that's dropping. Opened up at 155. Well, it's gone up. It just went up a point 15 minutes ago. So it had gone down to 152.5, now up to 153.5. Still a 1.5 point move towards the under. Very interesting look, expecting the bounce back from Nebraska. And if we expect the bounce back, would we expect the first half or full game? But a nice number received here. This opened up at 3.5. It got up to 4. It moved to 4.5 at 8:30 this morning. And now we're back at 3.5. So we've had a 1 cent move towards the Corn Huskers. And when we blew past that. When we get to the cash flow here, we have 70% of the tickets and 81% of the cash on the Illini. I mean, that's certainly certainly makes me interested in the Cornhuskers, coming off the terrible showing. Now, again, do you want them first half or full game? Well, we'll hear from our expert, Daby Cab. 75% tickets, 69% cash on the under. Here we go. Daby Cab, first spot on the board here. The Illini at the Huskers.
Stacks is my guy, so I'm going to try and figure out how to say this without offending. But, if you're betting Nebraska here, you're just betting the market, I guess, because you just read the market and it makes sense. But you're just saying they've lost 5 in a row. They've got to bounce. You're not looking at matchups. I know that for a fact. There's nobody on Nebraska who's going, okay, Nebraska matches up good against Illinois. They should win this basketball game. Not a chance. They do not match up at all against Illinois. And I understand Illinois has been a little bit down, lost 3 of their last 5 games. They were dealing with injuries, okay? Same thing when I talked about A&M. When you lose 1 or 2 players on, these teams that are only 5 or 6 players deep, it makes a big difference. Illinois is getting back into form. They're getting back healthy. This is a very, very high octane offense that I don't see how Nebraska is going to keep up with. Maybe for the first half, like you keep alluding to, possibly they do it there. But for a full 80 minutes of basketball, for a full 40 minutes of basketball, why did I just say 80? For 40 minutes of basketball, I don't see how they do it, man. I just don't. I took Illinois minus 3.5. And if you look last 2 home games for Nebraska, USC, they only lost by 5. Rutgers, they only lost by 3. So I guess maybe you're saying, oh, Nebraska won't win, but they can keep it within this number. I just don't see how they're going to do it because they're not going to do it on the boards, right? Illinois is definitely going to out-rebound them in this game. They're not going to do it with pace. Where is the production from Nebraska going to come from? This is one of those spots, again, where maybe the market tells you just go bet Nebraska. But as far as talent and what's on the court, I don't see how you could possibly bet on Nebraska here. So I'm on Illinois minus 3.5.
It's the initial move towards Illinois made a ton of sense. This buyback is very confusing. Troy Torrance says he thinks this line closes with a move towards Illinois. Now, we've come back. At this point, we've had a 1 cent move towards Nebraska at this number. But home teams had opened between plus 2.5 and plus 5, which is the Cornhuskers here. And the line moves towards the road team. They're 4-16 against the spread. So he needs this to close at -4 or bigger. I can understand the concern here because this line, doesn't make sense. It doesn't make sense. Bobano moved on Illinois minus 3.5, minus 104. What did you get, Daby?
3.5, minus 110.
All right. So Daby Cab on Illinois, Bobano on Illinois, and imperative to keep an eye on the market in this one. Very, very imperative. Troy saying it kind of reminds me of St. John's versus Georgetown, but I'm not as confident in the move back towards the road team. That's so big because and if we see that, then you can be bullish. Everybody can be bullish with their Illinois action. Because remember that line started moving towards St. John's around 4 p.m. and moved like a point and a half from the point where we did our show to the point where we had the tip off. Okay, so there we go. Let's roll on to our next spot on the board and another big game. Saturated, what is your plan with that one? I'd love to hear what your plan is with your Illini. We moved to Devlin Fieldhouse in New Orleans, Louisiana. The number 19th ranked Memphis Tigers are winners of 3 straight, coming off just destroying the UAB Blazers 100-77. UAB's third in conference right now. North Texas on top, then Memphis, then UAB, and then the Tulane Green Wave. They lost to Temple. Temple's a good team, 5-3 in conference here. Bounced back by beating Rice. Now, Rice looks bad. They're just 2-6 in conference, but they beat them by 11 on the road. The last time they were at home, they played Florida Atlantic and won by 15. It was impressive. We've already heard from Bobano on Tulane. We've already heard from Troy Torrance on Tulane. What's Saturated saying? 2 units already on the Illini for him. And Zoe Faye on the Illini team total over. So, and then that's another important point for that market we were talking about. If this moves to a 3, or if this gets become mother juiced Nebraska spot 3.5, that home team, if the line moves towards them, is 16-6 against the spread. So we'll keep an eye on all that. But let's go to Memphis, Tulane here. We have Tulane right now plus 6.5 at minus 115. They opened up at plus 7. This went down to a flat 6. Now it's 6.5, but it's heavily juiced towards Tulane. So you could say that this is a line move towards them. And then when we get to the total, and we will have cash flow information, I assume, when we get to the total here for this one, we have a 150.5 minus 111 to the over. This opened up at 150.5. It went up to 152. And then it's come back. So now we have no movement. And let's get some cash flow information that we so desperately seek. 69% of tickets, 64% of cash on the under. And no information on the spread from the Action Network. I'm sure we'll be here shortly. Take it away for us here, Daby Cab, the Green Wave hosting the Memphis Tigers.
Yeah, I ended up staying off this one. You know how I roll, Jimmy. If people or teams make me money, I give them a little bit of rope, and I stick with them. Memphis has been great to me this year, but that was early before conference, right? Because they were playing extremely step-up games because they don't play anybody. They're the only team ranked in their conference. They're the only team good in the conference this year. When I say good, I mean like they're the only team that should be playing in March. Good, right? They're the only team that is going to see the tournament this year. And so, yeah, initially I saw this line and I kind of wanted to be on Memphis, but the more I dig into this game and look at it, there is no way I trust Memphis in this spot, especially not laying 6.5 points. Memphis has been there. They've done that again. I just talked about how they've gone to the step-up games. They've been on national TV. They've done the whole 9 this year. Tulane hasn't. This has got to be their Super Bowl, so to speak, right? This is their March Madness right here, taking on the best team in the conference. They're at home. I would only take Tulane or pass, and since I've made so much money on Memphis this year, I'm just going to stay off.
Interesting.
This Memphis team, man, and I've talked about it. I think I don't think they're going to by any means win it, but man, I would not want to go against Hunter or Haggerty or Rogers or Jourdain. Some of these players on this team in the tournament, Memphis is going to be dangerous, and they're going to get probably the benefit of the doubt from the books, and it's going to be a large spread when we get there, and I will be on Memphis. I'm telling you right now, when the tournament comes, I'll be on them.
Well, we'll all be drinking together at the Southtown for that, my man.
Yep.
I cannot wait. Gonna have to dabble in the Zooms with you on the Sunday night as well. Put a bow on the whole event. Let's roll on to the next spot on the board. That was Bobano on Tulane. Let's talk 10:30 p.m. Eastern action. Action Jackson, I do not think Memphis smashes. I told you guys that yesterday. When we talked about have you ever backed? I've never backed. Now this isn't quite 30, but I've never backed a team that's won by 30 plus points the next game. And look, it blew up in my face. The Pacers easily took out the Pistons, and to add grief, I moved on the Pistons plus 11.5. So it does happen, but I don't bet that. I don't bet teams after they feel good about themselves. I want my athletes to be on edge, not the way Tortorella does it, but on edge. Let's go into our final spot on the board, Daby Cab, and we have someone joining us, someone who knows these UCLA Bruins very, very well, who does not live far from Poly Pavilion in Los Angeles, California. Actually, my pops is there. He's there right now. He's at the UCLA library as we speak. Please welcome our guy, Wine Time Sports, to the program. Wine Time, how are you?
Jimmy the Bag, Daby Cab. Good to be here, guys, on a Thursday. I think this is my first time being with you guys on a Thursday. Excited to be here. Excited to talk about this game and some NBA games, guys. Really like this game. I've been breaking this down all morning long, so I'm ready to get right to it.
Well, let's get right to it and talk about this spot. We've already heard Bobano moving on these Oregon Ducks plus 4.5 coming off a debacle on Saturday at Minnesota, losing 77-69, their second loss in 3 games. And they're on the road here again. Now, we saw them beat Penn State and Ohio State on the road. So they can win on the road, but that was a poor performance against the Golden Gophers. UCLA winning 4 straight, finding their groove here. The last 2 came on the road. They beat Washington. They beat USC. Now, these are not the strongest teams in the conference, especially Washington at the very bottom of the ledger. But that's the situation. Oregon does have a rest advantage as well, but UCLA played at USC, which is not a very difficult situation. We have all the cash flow information here as well for this game, so let's set this one up. This totals at 142. It's minus 121 to the under. This opened up at 140.5. Oh, it just dropped to 141. Dropped to 141 4 minutes ago. So we have just a half-point move towards the over now. And when we get to the spread for this spot, we have UCLA right now minus 4. They opened up minus 4.5. This opened up at 6:47 p.m. At 10:30 this morning, it was a 5.5. So there was a point move. Then it came back from 5 down to 4. So we have a half-point move towards the Oregon Ducks. Now let's see if the cash flow correlates here. We have 69% of the tickets and 74% of the cash on the Oregon Ducks. So it is a public spot, but I'm moving towards them. 31% tickets, 46% cash on the over. Wine Time. Talk about your UCLA Bruins Parlangel on the Ducks. Billy Friedrich on the Ducks. What's your plan of action?
Yeah, it seems like everyone's on the Ducks in the chat right now. Kind of surprising. Not surprising because they did come off a disappointing loss on the road against Minnesota. Shout out to Minnesota in that one. Talked about that one on Saturday with Daby Cab. I didn't give it out. Didn't even think I was going to play it, and I just kept looking at it throughout the day. I ended up playing it in every way I could. First half, full game, second half, team total, everything. Shout out to that guy Garcia, that big man from Minnesota, man. That guy might make some money in the league. But with that being said, Oregon did play a pretty good game. They couldn't stop them defensively, though. I don't think it's going to be easier task here heading to Poly. UCLA been playing some good ball last 4 games, especially. Kind of been turning it around. They had that little stint where they lost a couple games in a row. Cronin was taking a lot of heat in the media, and they've been turning it around. The team's been playing really well. Give or take, their schedule hasn't been extremely tough, but impressive win against USC, Washington, Wisconsin. That's an impressive win right there. I believe Wisconsin was 16 when they played them. They smashed Iowa. We talked about that game, but I just think we're looking at this total right here, Jim. And I don't know. I think this is a clear-cut over spot here. If I can get I just looked when you said that before I came on here. My book was giving me an over 141.5, and mine literally just moved back to a 141. That was the number I wanted to get on. We're seeing people come in on the under. I'm not sure why. Probably because they expect UCLA to play some good defense. I mean, Kobe Johnson's going to guard Shellstad. That's their best guard for Oregon. And Kobe Johnson's the best defender for UCLA. We'll see if he can shut him down. I think he's going to be able to. I think this is a UCLA spot and an over type spot right here. I'm not going to move on the Bruins here, though, just because Oregon coming off a disappointing loss to a not very good Minnesota team. They're going to be angry, but they're not playing at home. They're playing on the road. Not sure if this place is going to sell out or not. Most likely not. UCLA doesn't do that, especially on a weekday. But UCLA has been playing good ball, and they're playing together, and they spent a lot of money on this roster. They're really starting to gel, I think. I talked about this last time, too. I think this is a team that we're going to probably be betting on when it comes to the tournament. When it gets close to that time, if they're playing the way they are right now, if they keep winning games like this, if they get a win here, it's impressive. They're going to be in the rankings after that. I at least think they should. And with that being said, I'm going to be on the over, though, because I just think the points here. I wanted to be on UCLA team total over as well. It didn't end up getting there, but I think Oregon is going to be able to score as well. And I think this is going to go well over 141. So give me the over 141 minus 110 in this spot. I think this is a clear-cut over spot. We're seeing the public, like I said, come in on the under and kind of went up and it went back down to 141. So we'll see where it goes here in the next 30 minutes or so. But we have a long way until this game actually tips off. So going to be on the over, though. Jim, lock me in over 141 minus 110. I think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this one.
I think it got hammered as soon as it went down there. So I think it's going to climb right by it. Now we have a 142.5.
What? Oh, I got to move on this. I got to make sure I can get this 141.
I'll get it in. Over 141 and minus 110 for Wine Time Sports. Daby Cap, the third of the trio here. Our final game on our college slate. Take it away for us. Ducks, Bruins at Poly Pavilion. Are you muted, Mama?
I'm going to murder this dude's name, but is Tyler Billadua playing Bildeo, however you say his name?
I'm not sure, Cab. I'm not seeing any of his props being put up right now, but the line being the way it is, he has to be playing, right? I mean,
I would hope so if you're on UCLA, because if he's out, they're not there's sometimes when people rally around having their leading scorer out of the game, but I would say the same thing for Oregon too. These are two teams where if you take out their top scorer, I think the game gets very tough for them.
Yeah.
So
Mar, I think Mar, he got the start at center last time for UCLA. He's still pretty good, but I mean, there's only so many minutes he's going to be able to handle. He's not a full workhorse.
And fouls.
Yeah, that's a thing too, Cab. So that's going to be interesting to look out for. We'll probably know. I'm guessing we're going to know probably closer to 4 or 5 o'clock if he's going to play. But looking at this line, to me, it indicates that he's going to play. I don't think UCLA would be a minus 4.5 if probably their best scorer wasn't playing. But who knows? This is going to be an interesting one.
So that's for me, Jimmy. That's why I haven't bet this one yet. And I was texting Wine Time about this one last night because Wine Time's one of the people where if it's time to fade UCLA, he'll fade UCLA. So I wanted to get his thoughts on it. I'm kind of in line with Ian here, and it looks like the public and a lot of the chat. I think this is a good bounce back spot for Oregon. I was high on Oregon last year in the tournament. They brought a lot of Shellstad was somebody I was making money on with his props. I like this team. They're battle tested. I think they can go on the road and play. I talked about this Saturday, even though they didn't win on the road against Minnesota. But if you look at their numbers, Oregon is one of the very few teams that's statistically more comfortable on the road than they are at home. Again, I say it's because of that nasty puke yellow court that they have. But Oregon can travel. They can travel. And I like them here. I think it's a good bounce back spot. I will not bet this game until I know for sure the injury report one way or another. Because I do have these teams, if they're both fully healthy, Jimmy and Wine Time, I think they're very evenly matched. Honestly, I do. I think they're both very even across the board. I mean, UCLA has the advantage on defense a little bit, and Oregon has the advantage on offense. But, matchup wise, I put them even. So I guess, I'd go with the home team if they're even. But you take out that center for UCLA, and I think Oregon can win this as a dog and pull away. So as soon as I get this information, I will post it. If he's out, I'm taking Oregon first half. If he's not, I'm going to stay off this game.
I love it. So at this point, we have Daby Cab on the Illini minus 3.5 at minus 110, fresh off board sweepage here. Love it. So there we go. That is our college basketball breakdown for Thursday, January 30th. I will review all action here. And then we will say bye to our guy, Daby Cab. Again, Stacks play of the day is Nebraska plus 4.5. And the NCAA play today from Mr. Ron Crawford is Seattle. Seattle U. Just want to say bye to our guy, T. Moss. He's looking after his parents. His stepdad was just put into palliative care. So it's a tough time there for his family, and he's at the hospital every day with his fam and leading by example. So thinking of you, Timo. So sorry your family has to go through this, but at least they have your strong shoulders to lead them through it. And just know that we're thinking about you. And, you're not alone when you're sitting at the hospital. Cap, cap with us. And we're thinking about you going through tough times. Our friend T-Moss right now. The bookie buster play today from DC Capper is Georgia State plus 6.5. Matty Ice's taint play today is Penn State minus 2.5. Then we have a bunch of action from Cappers in our chat. Respect play days, Liberty minus 1.5 first half. Morgan Spooners on Campbell money line, Hampton plus 2, and Mercyhurst money line. Rogue Energies on Nebraska. Oh, that was who was on. Rogue was on Nebraska, Oregon, IU, Indianapolis, Tulane, IPFW. Billy Friedrichs on Maine minus 12.5. Marshall minus 11.5. UNC Wilmington minus 10.5, Idaho plus 2.5, Seattle plus 10.5, Kennesaw State plus 4.5, and money line, Cleveland State money line, and Oregon money line. Billy Friedrichs Pig Milk play days, Detroit Mercy at plus 7, and strategic investments on Georgia State plus 6.5. Black Thor King also on Mercyhurst, and Skunt Plaster on the Delaware money line. Bobano is on Penn State money line at minus 154. Troy also on Penn State. Bobano on the over 146.5, and Youngstown State money line. I mean, I don't. That line is absolutely nuts, and I think that I have to bet Wright State, but I'll figure that out here. Delaware also I find extremely appealing. Bobano on Middle Tennessee minus 6.5. I want to see what happens with that market, but I'm interested in the first half. Bobano on North Dakota State money line, the over 154.5. Skuntbag put those together as an SGP. Then I'm on Kennesaw State plus 3. Bobano moved on at plus 4.5 minus 118. It was available at FanDuel. Very uncomfortable that the line didn't continue to move with me. Kong's Clips also on IPFW today. Bobano on the over 148.5 in Cleveland State PFW. I'm going to be on IPFW as well. Troy Torrance's cards, Penn State, Illinois, William and Mary, UTEP, Kennesaw State, and Tulane. I'm going to be on the UC Davis Aggies. Again, I do want to make sure that all this correlates with the cash flow. So I will take a second here, then, after the show to make sure enough correlates, and I'll tweet out whatever I bet. Bobano on Illinois minus 3.5. Daby Cab on Illinois minus 3.5. Bobano on Tulane plus 6.5. And Oregon plus 4.5. And wine time on that over 141. Daby Cab, great job yesterday with board sweepage. Tell us a little bit about what's going on in the big starting 5 show Saturday morning at 10:45 Eastern.
Oh, man, we have a crew for this Saturday. And I tell you what, Wine Time's going to be back. He told me last week he didn't think he could make it this Saturday. Now he's going to be there. So even though it's a starting 5, we're going to have, just like any good basketball team, a 6-man rotation this week. And we got some, heavy hitters, to say the least. So it's going to be a lot of fun. Tune in this Saturday, starting 5. And the Pub Hub's still right after it, right? Or are y'all still doing it with just the Super Bowl?
No, NFL Pub Hub is going to be a compilation of 50 cappers or so. We're going to be putting it together, editing it together. It's going to come out next week. If anybody's interested in being on it, we're breaking into 3 videos, player props, sides, and totals. And if anybody's interested, just hit me or Jose up, and we'll plan out when we will get you to record. We want as many cappers as we can here for our Super Bowl show. So no, there's nothing after you except for our big UFC stream.
Man, that's awesome. Well, there you heard it right there from Jimmy, man. So we got some big plans for the Super Bowl, but this Saturday, and Jimmy, with the news on T-Moss, because I'll just update you guys. My grandfather's health has been declining quickly. He had an aneurysm last night. He had to have another heart surgery, and he was coming out of anesthesia. He had another aneurysm, and I get choked up, man.
I'm
He's
sorry,
my last grandfather, but be where you want to be and be with who you choose to be with. I love you guys, man. I love doing this with you guys up here. I love you guys in the chat. So thank you. And let the loved ones you have know that you love them. All right. And I'll see you guys tomorrow.
Love you, brother.
Love you too, man. Well put, man. Thinking of your grandfather, and that's tough, man. Thinking of the Daby Cab family as well, and just anyone going through the pain of all of this. The only thing that is important, I had a friend repeat it over and over to another friend one time when we were dealing with a friend's death, and but it's true, you're not alone, and you need to know that. And there's some comfort in knowing, and we have so many cappers here, like Nufflush Allen, whose mom he's brought his mom in right now to the home. She's there in the living room, probably listening to the show right now, and she's unable to speak or have a relationship with Mike, and he's there. He's taking care of her every single day, and his family is too. And there's so many of you guys going through the struggles with aging parents, and the important thing to know is that you're not alone, and the opportunity to cap, like Daby said, is doing what you love. But also the key part of what Daby said is tell the people that you love how much you love them every single day, over and over and over again, over and over and over. And there's Not Flush in the chat. Says it's the truest thing ever. Say, tell them that you love them. Tell them now that you love them. So important, very, very important. And we're with you in spirit. Daby Cab and T Moss and Not Flush and so many of you who are dealing with this difficulty, like Christopher Ing, and there's so many of you. So thinking of all of you guys, it is time to get in, and she is listening to us now. That's sweet, Not Flush. Thinking of you, man. And all of you guys leading your family through the difficult times is so inspiring to everybody else. Fathers to be, young fathers, or people who want to someday be a father. It's important. Time to get into NBA. Wine Time going to stick with us here on our Thursday, which is going to be a lot of fun. So we'll be a three-headed monster here breaking down the NBA. And I got absolutely annihilated yesterday. NBA does that to me every time I start getting cocky. I was talking about having a 10% ROI. I got absolutely destroyed last night. And it sucks and it hurts. And I can't wait to get back and attack the card today. And we have two cappers coming to us from Los Angeles, California. Got Wine Time ready to rock. Please welcome our next guest, who is coming off. Now, he tweeted that he went 5-2. He actually went 6-2. He gave us an extra play for 6-2 last week, and we'll go over that here in a second. But please welcome our guy, Darryl Rice, to the show. Darryl, what's good, man? How are you?
What up, Darryl?
What up? What up? What up? What up, though? Jimmy, Wine Time. Good to see you, brother. Good to see you, man. Happy to be back. A good bounce back week last week. I was in the background, though, backstage, and just peace and love, man. Everything that's going on with all the brothers, specifically Nut Flush and T Moss. I come from you guys know I come from a religious background. My parents are pastors in the church, so I'll be making sure that we put T Moss and his family on the prayer list, man. I believe in prayer. I just believe in everybody coming together, man, and just believe in for manifesting good things to happen, positive outcomes. So I was touched when I heard that. So yeah, let's try to make it even a better day, man, and put some money in people's pockets. So let's get it, man.
I need it. I need it bad.
Yeah.
And Rem Mose is right. This is the time to tell Darryl that you'll love him. That's well put. It's well put, Rem, because we love you, Darryl, very, very much. Well put.
I got my note, or I got my comments on today, so I can see, man. Y'all cut up, man. I ain't no goddamn reverend though. Listen, I'm already drinking, okay? So that
if you want to see more, come to Pubapalooza.
Right.
Right. Darryl, you didn't give yourself enough credit on your X. I checked it out this morning.
Yeah.
I always do to confirm people's action. And we have, this is what you gave out. You went 6-2 yesterday with 3 plus money spots, and 2 were real big plus money. Wembanyama over 3.5 threes plus 104 cash. Ware double plus 144 cash. But you also gave out Ware over 14.5 points.
Yeah. I missed one. I'll do better. Yeah.
No, it's all good. I mean, it just of course I will make sure we have it. So that was Ware over 49 points at cash.
Mm-hmm.
You lost the Gafford double. You cashed Monk over 5.5 assists. You cashed them over 6.5 assists, but not over 7.5. And then I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. Play of the day cashed very easily. Unfortunately, I was heads up against that. I don't give a fucking shit what this play of the day.
Listen, man, you got me a little scared. But that game, man, what was the other game that I was like, wait a minute? It was the Bucks game. It was the Bucks game, Jimmy, where it was like, wait a minute. I thought differently. I kind of got talked out of it because, I respect the Cappers, man. But I was like, there's no way the Bucks can lose this game. I should have stepped on that too, but I didn't. But that it was. I hated going head to head against you, man. But I felt good about that. I don't give a fucking shit.
I keep backing the Wizards like an ass clown. I did it last night.
Yeah,
I did too, man.
Yeah.
What are you guys doing? What are you doing? What the fuck are you doing?
Well, before yesterday, I would say I'm fucking winning, and I have an 8% ROI is what I'm doing. I'm fucking winning. Now I can't say that after going 1-7. Now I'm still in the black, but it atrocity. Let's get to work
Let's
here.
get to work.
Let's get to work, fellas. Thank you guys for joining us. NBA coverage here on Pub Sports Radio, and we have a very, very interesting card here.
Reverend Parlay.
To work, and we have interesting stuff from James Bowman, Cappers in chat, which we'll copy and paste and discuss here. And he's got a very interesting spot for the that Celtics game. But he retired. Okay, we'll get into it. But let's go. Let's roll. We start 7 p.m. Eastern. We have Darryl and Wine Times, Los Angeles Lakers, 26-19, 10-13 on the road. At the Washington Wizards, 6-40, 5-18 at home. Capital One Arena, Washington, D.C. Now, you are lucky. Well, no, I'm lucky. My family's lucky. My family's lucky. I am not going to back the Wizards today. And it's only because the Lakers are coming in off that 118-104 loss at the Sixers on Tuesday. Now, I was on that was when I swept the board. That was a great day. 3-0, glory. Not the case yesterday. Let's get into the line history and set this one up. Lakers 4-1 over their past 5, playing at the 24th fastest pace in the league, 97.2 possessions a game, shooting the ball very well from the field, 50.4%, but their 3-point numbers have been struggling, just 32.7 from 3 over the last 5 games. Washington is just an atrocity, just a train wreck. They have lost 15 straight games, 99.7 possessions a game over the last 5. That's 17th in the NBA. They're shooting 39.4 from the field and 28.4% from 3. And that's just horrific. This is also probably a good spot for the Lakers. Game 4 of a 6-game trip. Washington on the second half of back-to-back after losing 106-82 at home to the Raptors last night. Jermaine saying don't fade the Sixers until after the Super Bowl. And James Owen saying after Boston Celtics lost, betting the next opponent's under team total is now 12-3. Wow. New system play. That's an interesting one. Thank you for sharing that with us. Let's get into the line history and take a look at the cash flow and then get to work with our 3-headed monster on screen. We have the Lakers minus 8.5 right now, minus 109. They opened up at 7.5. We have a 1-point move towards the Los Angeles Lakers. On the total, we have a 224.5. That's higher than the other books. This climbed up to 224.5 at 11:52 a.m. It's now juiced to the under at 224.5. It was a pick'em earlier. So getting to the cash flow for NBA. Let's get this up here quickly. We have 78% of tickets and 73% of the cash on the Lakers. On the total, we have 74% of tickets and 71% cash on the over. Take it away here. We'll go back and forth. We'll start with Darryl Rice, Lakers, Wizards. Darryl, take it away.
You ready for this? Wine time. You ready for this?
I'm ready, Darryl.
Are you looking around? You ready? Jimmy, are you ready for this?
Yeah, I think.
Okay, let's get in and out. Okay, let's give me Lakers first quarter minus. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
You ready for this? Here's my analysis. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit. So yeah, I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fucking shit. I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is.
Minus 8.5, minus 109 is the best line we can give you. Take it away, Darryl. What's your bullishness about?
Okay, so I'm bullish on the first quarter. I already stepped on it. I bet the house on this. It's minus 2.5. Lakers right now in their last 5 games are obliterating people in the first quarter. They are covering the spreads. I believe they're 4-1 actually. The last one just came from this last game, which I just got to throw away. I don't know what the fuck was going on in the 76ers game. Somebody's got to explain to me why Bronny got so much burn in that game. AD went out. Understand that. We do understand that this is a completely different defensive squad when AD is out. But what they've been doing in the first quarter, this is what I text over to my boy. I said Lakers first quarter is a smash spot. Washington 28th in the league in first quarter points scored. In the last 3, they have averaged 19 points in the last 3. And they are allowing 36 points in that span. Lakers is averaging 28 points, and then the last three averaging 30. So their points are going up. So you guys know how I cap. When I see a situation like this where I have one team that is sliding down and the other team that is going up, I like to smash that team. The other thing about it was a disappointing loss for the Lakers. Washington is on a back-to-back, and the Lakers lost with no Embiid, obviously, and no Paul George in that last game. So I believe this is a bounce-back spot for him. JJ heard the noise. It was terrible coaching. I don't know what his plans were with playing Bronny as much as he did, but I feel that this is the game that they can get right. They just played. And Washington has not didn't even hit the century mark. So I know there's a lot of steam also on Washington team total under. That last game was 111-88. That spread was 13.5. And you're just telling me I got to win by a 3-pointer in the first quarter? I'm on it. Lakers minus 2.5. First quarter, my favorite play today.
Lakers first quarter minus 2.5. Wine time. You were up close and personal in this meeting the last time these two teams played. About 4 rows up?
3 rows back from courtside. So there's courtside, and then there's the middle part, and then 3 rows back.
Jesus. Take it away. Your plan of action here for this evening's game.
Yeah, shout out to my boss for hooking me up with those tickets. Yeah, man, I watched the Wizards play, and I sat there with my wife, and I said, this might be the worst NBA team I have ever seen.
Yeah.
Like, missing so many shots. And Jordan Poole, I don't know what he's doing, guys, out there. I mean, yesterday in the first quarter, he played 9 minutes, 0 of 1 from the field, 0 rebounds, 0 assists. Like, what's he doing out there? Like, that guy's a shooter. That's what he's done his whole career. He's afraid to shoot the ball. He's afraid to do anything out there. It's kind of crazy. Looking suspect out there. You got Kuzma out there. You got some guys that can put the ball in the hoop for the Wizards, but more than likely not. They're not going to be able to probably hang tight with the Lakers coming off that disappointing loss to the Sixers. You know, I was in the chat on Tuesday, gave out the Sixers money line plus 150, gave it out on X, told all my buddies, I said, guys, just take the 76ers in this spot. This is 76ers and Tyrese Maxey spot. Maxey was eaten up all night, just as I thought he would. It just seemed like a 76ers spot. And this definitely seems like a get-right spot for the Lakers.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, they are on the road in this spot. And when I went to the game, guys, the spread was at 13.5, and I was on the Wizards in that spot, which is just absolutely wild. Now we're getting an 8.5, most likely because Anthony Davis, right, guys? He's not in this one, right? I'm guessing
he's not in. Yeah, he's not in.
LeBron, questionable from what I'm seeing at 6:30 a.m. I haven't gotten an update since then, but he'll be playing most likely in this one. And Darryl, you kind of hit on it. I like the first quarter look because the Wizards, like, I don't like what I see from them, especially starting off a game. When I went and saw them play, I didn't like what I saw. I was on them last night for some reason. Didn't like anything that I saw from that team. So I definitely like the look here. I'm not on this game, though. I'm going to stay away from this one, but I definitely like the look. Good luck, my guy.
Yeah, it makes sense. They should be an angry group here. Rui Hachimura will play. He's missed 2 games with a calf. He came back Tuesday. Sorry, he came back Tuesday. So he will play again here. But as you said, AD out, and the same situation for Washington, what we've been dealing with Sarr added to being out. Brogdon, Sadiq Bey, and Bagley all out. That is game 1. We have I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is played today, and it is the Lakers' first quarter. Okay.
Yeah, just how they blew out Charlotte in the first quarter, right? But then Charlotte was able to make a run. So this is when I hate. Sometimes the Lakers can disappoint you with teams that they should just smack out. And I always go back to that Dallas game where they didn't have anybody playing and they lost, you know? But I do believe the first quarter is the best spot here where they can get right. And yeah, this should be a good spot for them.
Let's roll on. Next up for us, 7 p.m. Eastern, with the Atlanta Hawks, 22-25, 11-13 on the road. The Cleveland Cavaliers, 38-9, 22-3 at home at Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. Capella, Bogdanovich out. Trae Young is a game-time decision here, but he's listed as probable with the hamstring injury, so he will be in business here. Then for the Cavs, same old deal with LeVert, Coro, and Dean Wade out. Merle, a game time decision, but the starting 5: Garland back, Garland, Mitchell, Strus, Mobley, and Jarrett Allen, all good to go. Let's set up the line history here for this one. We have the Hawks plus 10 at minus 105. They opened up at plus 10 at minus 101, so we've had 4 cents of movement towards the Atlanta Hawks. Good God, do I need a bounce back at NBA? I mean, just just destroyed. I got hurt so badly last night. This total at 240. This opened up at 237.5, so we've climbed 2.5 points. And Stacks play of the day #1 right here. He is backing these Cleveland Cavaliers to take care of business by double digits. Out to our guy Stacks.
Okay, Justin. I see you, brother. Okay.
Rocket Mortgage Fieldhouse in Cleveland, Ohio. We talked about Jalen Johnson being gone for the year and how that would hurt. But, again, when I cashed with Atlanta in that 196 loss at home to the Rockets on Tuesday, that was fading the Rockets. It wasn't betting on Atlanta. Atlanta 0-5, of course. They've lost 6 straight, but they're playing at the fastest pace in the league. So we saw this last year too. Before All-Star break, the pace heightened. So for you total bettors, the pace has gone way up over the last 4 or 5 days. So keep an eye on that. They're playing 105.1 possessions a game, shooting horrifically. We talked about how bad Washington's shooting from 3. Nobody's shooting as bad as the Hawks from 3 right now. They're shooting 41% from the field and 26.2% from 3 over those last 5 games. Cleveland 2-3, playing at 22nd fastest pace, 97.30 possessions a game. And the Hawks almost getting 8 more possessions a game than the Cavs. 48.4 from the field and 36.7 from 3. Atlanta comes in off their 6th straight loss. We just talked about this is their 3rd game in 4 nights, but it's also Cleveland's 3rd game in 4 nights. Cleveland on the second half of back-to-back after winning their 2nd straight game, 126-106 at the Heat last night. So this is also travel. There's a lot of these teams dealing with 3rd games in 4 nights on today's card, and they're all dealing with travel as well. We have 58% of the tickets on the over and 50% of the cash. Well, it's gone up 2.5 points. Then we have 58% of tickets and 67% of cash on the Cleveland Cavaliers. I mean, they just dominated the Heat from the jump by 20, and Stacks expecting that to happen again. This time we'll start with wine time. Take it away, Hawks Cavs.
Yeah, Jimmy, another game I don't have a play in quite yet. Is definitely looking at a total in this one at the over. This is the highest total on the board today, and neither of these teams have really had this high of a total in the last 5 games. Makes me think that and it's only going up right now. Makes me think there's going to be a lot of points scored in this one. I know the Hawks don't play defense at all, and they definitely can get off here. Do expect Trae Young to play in this one. This is ultimately a backwood for me, though, guys. I might end up moving on this over depending on what number I can get, but it's already moved 2.5 points up. So I feel like I lost the value there. So I'm going to stay away from this one, guys. I got 2 plays in this next game.
Hawks Cavs, Darryl, anything you're doing here?
Sneaky play. I'm gonna make it official. This is a small play for me, but I'm gonna make it official. I've been looking at this cat, and you got to look at him also. Dyson Daniels over 2.5 steals. This guy is really, really sneakily good, and he winds up getting these steals. It's gonna be a sweat, if you will. It's gonna be a sweat. So, what I don't like about this game really is it seems like some teams have another team's number. And one of those, it seems like for right now, Atlanta has Cleveland's number. If you remember when they first played, I believe Trey actually put up his assist record. He threw up like 22 assists. So I just feel like it's a lot of points, but it's a lot of points for a reason. So I can respect Justin's hustle by just taking Cleveland here. But Atlanta has their number. Just like Dallas has OKC's number for whatever reason. Just like for right now, as it stands, the Rockets have the Grizzlies number, right? So this is just, I don't know if 10.5 it's just a little too much for me at this point, but I can look at Dyson Daniels where I feel that he's been consistent. He's got a long wingspan here. So this guy does sneakily steal the ball a lot. He does get in. He's a pretty tough defender. So I will make that official. I got it at even money. Dyson Daniels over 2.5 steals. Last time I played Dyson Daniels, I actually laddered this to 4, and he cleared 5 steals. But I will be just making that official. Dyson Daniels over 2.5 steals. I believe that's good money. Small play for me, but I'll make it official here. I do like, that's the only thing I like here.
Interesting spot. I think if Justin wasn't on the Cavs for the Stacks play today, I would have interest in the Hawks. I'm not going to do anything right now for sure. And I'll put a bunch of question marks beside it. By the way, you can get that 2.5 steals at plus 116 currently at Caesars.
Yeah. You
thank
know my
you.
book, man. In California, you can't really bet. I don't do offshores a lot, so I just go through my local, and he robs me. When I line shop, man, he has the worst lines ever, but he's consistent when he pays me. That's all that matters. So
Nutflush looking at Mobley PRA over here.
I like that.
I
like
just
that.
after a 20-point win, I kind of want to see if I can get in the way of them, but I don't know if I'll do that. Okay, let's roll on. Next up, 9 p.m. Eastern, and I almost bet this already, and I should have. I almost bet this right before we started the show. I was late, and you know what? I was like a couple minutes late to the show, and Jose got it started, and it was this in spot. And I was like, okay, I'll talk it out. And I should have probably just bet it because those 7s are gone on the Jazz. It's a very difficult team to back, the Jazz, but that was a pretty. The Timberwolves on the second half back-to-back, they cared about beating Phoenix last night.
Right,
121,
right.
113. They cared about it. And now they have to go up to elevation and play one of the worst teams in the league. It's just not an appealing spot to back Minnesota. And now I should have just moved on it. This is 6 at most books. I'm looking at 6.5. This has come down from 7. This didn't move to 6.5 till 30 minutes ago. And now we have 6s. I mean, is somebody saying that Minnesota is going to be sitting somebody here? We know that it's just Naz Reid who's the game time decision. He's sick. He didn't play yesterday, so will he play here today? And then for the Jazz, they're actually healthier than they've been in some time. I mean, Johnny Jew's hanging out, but they're pretty healthy. So this is now a 6.5 at where I'm looking, but I see 6s across the market everywhere. It's an important point that I lost, and it's very upsetting. This total right now is at 224.5. It's slightly juiced to the over. It's gone from 223 to 224.5. And then from a cash flow standpoint, we have 81% of tickets, 76% of cash on the Timberwolves. I mean, that's my wheelhouse. I guess did I want to know that the line was going to continue to move towards the Jazz just to make me more bullish? I mean, 78% of tickets and 82% cash is on the over. The Jazz have lost 7 straight, coming off that 114-103 loss at the Warriors on Tuesday. And this is the first of a 4-game homestand. Minnesota 4-1 over their past 5, playing the 14th fastest pace. Just a tiny bit slower than Utah has been playing. And they're shooting much better than Utah. Minnesota shooting 47% from the field and 37.4 from 3 over the last 5 games, while Utah shooting 43.8 from the field and 30.3 from 3. And this is Minnesota's 3rd game in 4 nights. So here we go. We had Darryl open up game 1, so we'll have Darryl open up game 3. Timberwolves, Jazz, take it away, Darryl.
Off of back-to-back, I think you have I think it could be you Conley might sit, man. I don't know. I just would be. This one here is some injury report shenanigans, possibly. I just think that the guard play might be down on the Timberwolves end. And the only way that I can look at this game, I have made 2 plays on this game. Okay. One of them I'll make official. I think you do have a good game with Colin Sexton. I think Colin Sexton is a good spot. So I went over on his 3s. Now, this one's kind of very bumpy. So I look at matchups, and I think this is a good matchup for him because what he's not going to do is bang down low. He's not going to be young bull and try to bang down anywhere in the paint. So I do like Colin Sexton over 1.5 threes. I got that. It is juiced at 124, minus 124. This is something that I did do also. And a lot of people might not be with it, and it's okay. But I did play Collins and Joe Val double-double. I won't make that official, but I did play their double-double. Just so you know that I did make a play. I got it at plus 659. Again, a small play for me, but I singled those and then parlayed those. So Joe Val double-double. He's going to have some pretty good boards with their no AD being in there and probably just going against Jackson Hayes and Coloco. And then I do like Collins coming back in. He's officially in. I do believe he can be good on the boards as well tonight and score some points. So I do like that. So my official play is Colin Sexton over 1.5 threes, but also telling what I did play, but I'm not going to make official. But I did do a double parlay, and that's with Joe Val and John Collins at plus 659.
You are locked in, my friend. Sexton over 1.5 threes, minus 124. Wine time. Wolves, Jazz, Salt Lake City, Utah. What are you looking at?
Yeah, Jim, you know where I'm going on this one. This is a clear-cut spot for me, guys. I gave it out over an hour ago on Twitter. I wish I would have texted you about it, Jim. Gave out the Jazz +7, minus 110. And you know what? I let the balls hang. I gave them out the money line plus 240 on the money line. They're down to a plus 205 right now. Got the plus 240 on it, though. I think they're going to get them outright, guys. We touched on this game yesterday, Jim. You were surprised that I was on. Oh, wait, this is a different game, actually. But T-Wolves, yeah, this was the same game. We didn't break this game down too much, but T-Wolves took care of business against the Suns last night. Kind of an emotional game. Anthony Edwards had himself a game, traveling on a back-to-back, heading to Utah. You mentioned it in the elevation. Utah can't get a win, man. They just can't win games, and they're just due. This is one of those spots where they're due for a win here at home. You mentioned they're getting healthier. They have Colin Sexton. I like where Darryl was going with his props. I'm looking at his over points, over 18.5, minus 105 as well. Not going to get that out officially, but I think if the Jazz win, he's going to eat tonight. You mentioned the guard play. I think he's going to be able to drive to the bucket, get to the free throw line, and knock down a couple of those open threes that he's going to take. If he does that, there's no reason why he can't get 20 points in this one. But yeah, guys, I'm on the Jazz in this spot. I think this game doesn't mean too much to Minnesota. I think last night meant everything to them. They gave it everything they had. It was a close game at half. They pulled away second half. We were on the Timberwolves last night. I'm on the Utah Jazz tonight, guys. Just take the money line. Don't even take the points, guys. I wasn't going to give out the money line officially on here because I mentioned my ROI is a lot better from 4 to 6, 6.5. It was at 7, went down to a 6 now. So I'm going to give that out as well, the money line, because I think they're going to get them outright. So, Utah Jazz here in this spot.
Hey, one time question for you. When I look at Sexton's props, I usually see a 16.5 for his points. That's where he's usually at, right?
That's where I would say 16.5, maybe juiced, and 17.5, minus 105. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. 18.5 right here.
18.5, yeah.
I think he's going to ball tonight.
You guys, I'm going to make that official. Because you don't know where his points open, do you? Do you think they opened at 17.5 and it got steamed up to 18.5 or bet up to 18.5?
I couldn't tell you that because I didn't see what I can't tell what this number opened up at.
It always bothers me that we can't find a record of that.
I wish we could.
Yeah. Let me. I'm gonna check. I can usually tell how the juice looks, but if I'm gonna take his threes, he's even. I've got him at even money. So when I see this happens, that tells me that it was probably at 17.5, heavily juiced. It was bet up to 18.5, and now we've got it at even money. This might even get down to minus money before tip-off. So I'm going to make it official, and I'm going to make this play now. I'm stepping on Colin Sexton also over 18.5 points, and my local has it at even money. Now, he's never going to the line is never going to open at even money. So what this tells me, just the trend I usually see, is that it was a lower number, heavily juiced. It was bet up, and now it's starting now at 18.5 at even money. And that money is it'll probably get to minus 106 or minus 110 before tip off. So I'm making that official because I do like the angle that you take him. I didn't really necessarily see him banging in the paint, but I do believe Colin can get some points up tonight. Now, does that also bother you that Collins is in?
Yeah, but I think there's a reason too, because he's averaging, I think, like 17 or 18 a game, and his point props is only at, I think, 14.
Yeah, 14 and a half.
It's a little lower. Maybe his minutes aren't as high tonight.
Right,
I'm sure on that point. But I'm going to join you, Darryl. We're talking about this. We're agreeing on it. I'm going to join you because I got the same number, actually. I got plus 100 as well on the 18.5. So lock me in, Jim. That's my third play on this one. We're going to take Colin Sexton over 18.5 for plus 100.
And Textile saying, yeah, it did open up at 17 and a half. But Jermaine said he
Okay.
saw it at 19 and a half.
He said
so-
19 and a half. That's
But-
weird.
Textile saying 17 and a half. We'll figure that out. Markel
Yeah.
also moving on Jazz money line. I just bet them plus 6.5, minus 109. It was a minus 111. I was planning on betting it, then it dropped 2 cents to minus 109. I took that. So I'm in on the Jazz plus 6.5, minus 109. Upsetting. I should have just moved on. I liked it, moved on. And I screwed up. But Rod Zawacki, 10-star play is the Wolves minus 3.5 first half, 4-0
Wow.
off of a road win in that spot this year. Rod, is that off of a first leg of a back-to-back road win, or just the first off of a road win? It must be first leg of back-to-back, right? If you could let me know, Rod, I'd be very interested in that. Rod Zawacki's action is copied and pasted. Great to see you, Rod. Yes, Joseph Alvarado saw it at 19 and a half, minus 105 at 8:03 a.m.
Wow.
So some books at 17.5, some at 19.5. Very, very interesting. Thank you, Joseph. So wine time on the Jazz plus 7, minus 110, money line plus 240, and Sexton over 18.5 points. Darryl is on Sexton over 18.5 points. Sexton over 1.5 threes and minus 124. Rod Zawacki is on the Wolves minus 3.5 first half, and I'm on the Jazz full game plus 6.5. We roll on. We roll on to Rockets, Memphis Grizzlies. I wanted to have this in before the show started, and this kind of messed with me off the hop, because as soon as I bet it, and I was taking a much worse line than other people had, it moved against me. I mean, like if I had waited 5 more seconds, I would have got 4.5 with regular VIG. Instead, I got a 5, which was very disappointing. I'm on the Grizzlies here. You know me. And if you lose by 30 plus, I'll blindly back you in the next game. Now, I didn't do that with the Spurs because they were coming back from Europe, and then I didn't back the Pistons, until half an hour before tip-off. I decided I wasn't going to do it here, and then I did it anyways. I don't know. The itch started screaming
Wait
at
a
me.
minute, Jimmy. This game correlates with the system that you use when a team gets blown out, right?
Yes.
When did you just use the system?
I've used it twice in the last week and catch both.
Do you remember?
I used it with this with the Golden State Warriors after they got beaten by the Celtics by 40 odd, and they covered against the Kings. They covered against the Kings. I think that might have been with you. And then I just used it.
That's what it was.
I used it with the Pacers after they lost by 30 plus to San Antonio and Paris. So I've used it twice.
Okay.
That's
what it was. That's what it was. It was the Paris game.
Yeah, it's just these. I just can't help myself. Now, look, I should have been on this earlier. We're trying to put all this together in all these sports. Now it's just 3 sports, but I should have been on this earlier. I don't know why I wasn't on this earlier, and I imagine it's going to cost me money. Right now, Memphis is minus 4.5. The thing is that it depends what book you look at. I mean, if you look at the book where we were playing poker at, this opened up at minus 2.5 at 3:09 p.m. and then it went to minus 1.5. I mean, so then it comes up to 4.5 or 5. The offshore that I think is the sharpest opened this at 5. So there wasn't a market move towards Memphis. So again, it took a little bit of digging to realize that this line was moving very quickly. And I guess I didn't need to rush it. This total's at 236.5. It opened up at 238. We've dropped a point and a half. So BJ's got his best bet on the Grizzlies minus 2.5 in the money line. So I added the first half as well, minus 2.5 again. And I could have, that didn't move, although the 5 did move to 4.5. So let's roll into this spot. When we look at the cash flow for this one, 69% of tickets, 69% cash on the over. And then on the spread, we have 42% of tickets and 53% cash on the Memphis Grizzlies. It astonishes me that people wouldn't back the Grizzlies here. I don't. So we have Ja as a game time decision. He's got a shoulder issue here. And, maybe Look, that's a problem, obviously. And maybe I should have held something back because I'd like to bet I love the Grizzlies when he's out of the lineup because I think the market moves too far and everybody steps up. Then for the Rockets, Sengun is a game time decision with his calf injury. Now, he was at shoot around this morning.
Yeah, I think he goes.
And he's not missed a game all year. So, I mean, that's something he's proud of. I don't think that he misses that one. And now Steven Adams is barely not playing much, but he was also at shoot around as well. So both their bigs should be in. So both teams 4-1 over the past 5, playing a very different pace. Memphis second in the league, 102.6 possessions a game. Houston 21st at 97.3 possessions a game. Memphis shooting the ball very well, too. 49.1 from the field and 38% from 3, while Houston shooting 45.7 from the field and 36.6 from 3. Rockets coming off their 4th straight win, 196 of the Hawks on Tuesday. This is their 3rd game in 4 nights with constant travel. Just constant travel. The Grizzlies had their 7-game winning streak snapped in an ugly 143-106 loss at the Knicks on Monday. I mean, I don't see how they can no-show at MSG. Ja can no-show and play 27 minutes and not get shot up to play this game and lead this team here after losing by 30+. I just don't see it. I'm on the Grizz first half in full game. Again, I got in late. We'll see if that hurts me. Let's hear from Wine Time to get this one started. Wine Time, Rockets, Grizzlies.
Yeah, it's tough for me to ever fade the Houston Rockets because I just feel like I've probably made more cash on them this year than any other team in the NBA, honestly. But I like backing them as a small dog at home, not really on the road here. John Morant, yeah, questionable. I'm guessing he's going to go tonight, guys, because I'm seeing at my book right now, I'm at a -5, -110. I don't want to get in on that. I kind of hope that Ja gets ruled out. The line goes back down to maybe a -3, -2.5, and we get more value on the Memphis Grizzlies with Ja getting ruled out last minute. I will move on it with John Morant being out of this game because I definitely think it might throw off the Rockets here, having their star player for the Grizzlies out in this one. But as of right now, I'm off this game, but I'm going to wait and see if Ja plays, which is crazy for me to say, if Ja doesn't play, I'm going to back the Grizzlies against a good team like the Houston Rockets, but just the kind of spot I'm looking at here. But ultimately staying off this one, guys. This should be a good basketball game. If everyone's healthy, this is a good basketball game. This might be a Western Conference playoff preview right here. 2 good teams, 2 good young teams heading in the right direction, with 2 good head coaches too.
Yeah, no doubt. LJ saying, be careful. This division game, Rockets 8-2 against Red in the division. If Grizzlies weren't coming off being embarrassed at MSG, I wouldn't be on them. But I hear you, LJ. Darryl, take it away. Rockets, Grizzlies.
Hey man. You know LJ just being a homer. You know how LJ get down, right? But LJ, he's been cashing for us, right? If you've been telling that first half pick on the Rockets, you've been cashing. Here's the thing that's weird to me. Even with the news of this is why I asked you about your system, Jimmy. Even with the news of Ja being a game time decision here and not playing, this is the largest spread in the last, in all the games they played. This is a team that has Memphis number. Rockets just beat them. They beat them all 3 games. Those spreads out of the last 3. Only one was favored to the Grizzlies, and that was at -1.5, and the Rockets beat them 119-115. Rockets then beat the Grizzlies again, while the Rockets are favored by 2.5, 118-120. That first game was an absolute blowout, 128-108, provided that's the beginning of the NBA season, so things like that probably will happen. Now we're getting a 5, a 4.5 on Memphis end, and they have not won a game against Houston. And they've already played him at home and lost at home, 119-115. So why are the books even? And we got news about John Morant. So this one here, I guess, is a more narrative bet. I kind of take away the numbers, right, and just look at the overall scale of these 2 teams. Houston has Memphis's number. Now, if you take all the variables away, Rockets can beat them whether they're away or at home. And we're looking at a line that's -5, -4.5 on Memphis end with the news of Ja being questionable. That's the weirdest thing to me. It's just weird. It's everything about it is weird. That's why I asked you about your system, Jimmy. This feels like this is a Memphis spot here. This feels like a Memphis spot, if you ask me. On top of that, you got mopped. You got mopped by New York, man. 143 to 106. So all that tells me, and we're still looking at these are the ranked 2 and 3 teams in the Western Conference, right? So, like you said, one time, this is possibly like playoff material here. And we're looking at Memphis at -5. Man, I am on Memphis. I just have to agree with the books here. I have to agree with the books. The books are giving you this line in spite of the last 3 games that you've seen where Rockets have just owned them. They've been tight games, but you still see a -4.5, and this is the largest spread in all 3 games, and it's going to Memphis with the questionable Ja. Give me the Grizzlies here. So I've already stepped on that. I got it at -5. I don't care about the news of Ja. I mean, I should care about it, but I just think this is one of these games where Memphis is going to beat them, whether you have Ja or not. Now, if you are a line shopper and want to get the better line, you obviously wait. But I did step on the 5. I think Ja's news is baked into the number already. So I took Grizzlies -5. I like that play. I'm just at this point, maybe I got my tinfoil hat on and I'm looking too much at what the books are trying to think. But goddamn, Memphis -4.5 over the body of work that they've played against Houston this far, and they're coming out favorites. No, man. Give me Memphis -5. I've already stepped on that official play.
I love it. I love it. You are locked in here. So at this point, what do we have for you, Wine Time, for this Rockets Memphis spot where you're going to wait? If Ja's out, you move on them?
Yeah, I mean, we'll see. I'll end up tweeting this out, guys. I mean, the more we talk about this, though, I mean, Darryl kind of hit it on the head here with just this number being at a -5. The books know something.
They know something.
John Morant was at shoot around. I expect him to play today. And yeah, Grizzlies might beat these guys by double digits today. But
rest advantage too.
Yeah, it's tough for me to fade these Houston Rockets, but it might be the time to do it here. I'm gonna take another look at this game as the day goes on, though, and I'll definitely tweet it out and tag you guys in it.
Let's roll into the final game on our card, 10 p.m. Eastern. We have the Orlando Magic here. Cappers in the chat, bullish on these Orlando Magic. We have Thomas Maggio saying best bet on the card. He's got 2 units on the Orlando Magic. BJ on the Magic as well. 24-24, 9-15 on the road. The Portland Trailblazers 18-29, 10-13 at home at Moda Center in Portland, Oregon. Portland comes in off their 5th win in 6 games, 125-112 at home versus the Bucks. I was on them on the spread, not on the money line like some cappers here with just dumb-sized balls. Just laugh out loud balls banging around.
Laugh out loud balls.
Jesus, Wine Time on the money line. That was a thing of beauty. Let's get into the line history in the cash flow here. This is our final spot on the board. Then we're racing for $50. I want to see some camels, Jose. If we can, but up to you what you would like to see. Now, James Parham loves Portland tonight. They are certainly playing good basketball. We have this total at 212.5 minus 108 to the over. This opened up at 212, got it now 212.5, so half point move towards the over. When we get to the spread here, we have Orlando -5 at minus 109. They opened up -5.5, so we have a half point move towards these Trailblazers.
Yeah.
42% of the tickets, 46% of cash on the Orlando Magic is a half point move away from them. 81% of the tickets and 87% cash on the over, something generally you don't want to bet with the Magic, but they're shooting much better from 3-point land right now. LJ from H-Town says Denny Avdia points over. Let's talk about it. Magic, Trailblazers. These are 2 slow-paced teams. Orlando 1-4 over their past 5. They've lost 6 of 7. They're coming off, or they're 29th in pace, 95.71 possessions a game. Barely ahead of them is Portland, 28th in pace of play, 95.8 possessions a game. But they are winning 4-1 over their past 5. Now, Orlando's shooting the ball poorly from the field, 41.4% and 33.3% from 3. In the days when the Magic were winning basketball games, Wagner and Banchero were hitting 2s at a high rate. They were like 48% from the field, but like 30% from 3. Now they're 41.4 from the field and 33.1% from 3. Jalen Suggs and Gary Harris are both questionable. Suggs questionable. He did come back last week from that 10-game absence with the lower back injury. And Gary Harris, let's take a look at Harris here. Gary Harris is probable. So Harris will be in to play some defense for the Magic. We have a Thibault out and Jeremy Grant in. Looks like he's listed as questionable. Sorry, Jeremy Grant is listed as questionable. He hurt his ankle against the Bucks, so we'll need to find out about Jeremy Grant and DeAndre Ayton. He's in. I guess he doesn't have a. He doesn't say my stomach hurts or I got lost on the way to the game. It doesn't say any of that shit from DeAndre Ayton. So it looks like he'll play. Magic coming off that 125-119 loss in double overtime at Miami on Monday. This is game 2 of a 6-game trip. Portland comes in off their 5th win in 6 games. This is game 3 of a 7-game homestand. Our final spot on the board. We start with you, Darryl. Magic, Blazers.
Yeah. Somebody's got some nuts on Orlando right now. I don't have an official play in this game. Where I've generally gone, and I've told you this last week, is with Shaedon Sharpe's threes. He's come off the bench now. He was starting early, but he's come off the bench and he does pretty well. You can go Anthony Simons threes. But I mean, are we looking at how Portland's been playing lately? These guys are kind of balling, man. I mean, they lose to OKC. It's a competitive game, 118-108. But you beat the Bucks 125-112. Maybe people are going to say, that was Portland's, NBA Finals there, beating the Bucks. I think that game was Bucks -9. I'm not sure. But that was a return home. Also, return home Dame game, right? Dame comes home. And usually when you see Dame against Simons always likes to ball out. But they beat Milwaukee, they beat Charlotte, they beat Orlando, they beat Miami. And so Portland has been playing some pretty decent ball in their recent body of work. On the other end, Orlando, I mean, they're 1-4 in their last 5. Their only win is against Detroit. But you lose against Miami in a double overtime game, bro. And how do you lose against Miami when that team is in such disarray? This was going back to last week, which was the reason why I should have bet the Bucks on that game, Jimmy. And that was, you got all this shit happening now. Now you got Jimmy that is suspended indefinitely, and you got all this calamity going on. And why not bet the Bucks? But this is the same team that loses to Miami. Now, I do believe Jimmy played that game. I think he got suspended after that game. I'm not sure. Somebody can quote me on that. But you lose to Portland already on the 23rd of this month. So they've already played, man. And you didn't even put up 80 points, bro. You didn't put up 80 points. It was 101-79. So you lose to Toronto, who's a terrible team, didn't even put up 100 points there. And you lose to Denver, where you just got to the century mark. So all in all, I can't trust Orlando just yet, right? And Portland seems like they're on the uptick, right? They're doing pretty decent in their recent body of work. So all in all, it's not official. I'm going to look at these numbers. I'm probably going to step on Shaedon Sharpe's threes here, but it's not official for me. No play as of right now.
And I can understand BJ thinking that the books put out a line where gamblers would gravitate towards the Blazers. To think that Magic would be, 5-point favorites when they're 9-15 on the road this year. Now they are healthy. I can understand that thought process here, and that the Blazers are in a letdown spot after beating the Bucks. I get all that. That makes sense to me. I don't know if it makes so much sense that I bet it, but I'm interested in it. Let's hear from Wine Time. Last game on the board, Magic Blazers.
Yeah, this is my last play of the day, guys. I'm on the Magic here. I gave out the -5. Yeah, I gave out the -5 at the -110 earlier when I gave out the Utah Jazz. It's moved to -5.5 at my book right now. Still like it there. You touched on it. Magic didn't even score 80 points against these guys last game. I think this is going to be a big revenge game for them. They've lost the last 4 out of 5. Blazers just playing some really good ball. We just backed them a couple days ago. I like the roster they have, the young guys they have. When those guys are playing and they're healthy, those guys can ball, and they can win some ball games. But I just think this is a letdown spot. They played against their old teammate, Dame Lillard. They still are at home. They went to Orlando last time and took care of business quite easily. I think Magic are going to come here, take care of business quite easily, win this game by double digits, honestly. I think this is going to be a letdown spot for Portland. And it's I hate to say that because Portland's been cashing for me these last week or so, but I just think this is the time to get off of them in this game. I think Magic, this might go to a -6 before tip. I hope it does at least. I want it to keep going up. But with that being said, yeah, I think Magic take care of business, guys. I like that Paulo's healthy, Wagner's healthy. Those guys are going to ball out there today. Simons was looking at maybe his props, though, from Portland or Denny Avdia. Denny Avdia ate the other night, guys. He was just driving to the paint all night, getting to the free throw line. He wasn't making all of his free throws, but he was making those layups. He could definitely make some threes as well. That could be a good prop right here. I'm not looking at any props from Orlando, though. But yeah, I'm on Orlando here, -5, -110, guys. I love this play.
And that's crazy too. That what I would mean by that is if we're going to use the same logic for the Memphis game and how kind of crazy that line is, and then you look at this game on how well Orlando or how crazy Orlando is right now and how well Portland is doing, and we get a -5.5 here, -6. The books are telling you something again here, right? Because there's no way Orlando, even with their players in, we're talking about rest or rust here in some cases, in some instances. We do have Orlando finally getting it back together with all their players being healthy. But still, Portland's been on an absolute, if you want to call it that, tear these last few games, and we're seeing a 5.5. So that does make sense, Warren.
Yeah, I'm very interested. I'll be certainly keeping an eye on it here. All right, let's review all action in NBA. Great job, fellas. We'll be racing camels here in a second. Darryl, I don't give a fucking shit what the spread is. Play today. Lakers first quarter -2.5. Then Darryl's on Dyson Daniels over 2.5 steals at +116. I do have some interest in the Hawks, but wine time on the Jazz +7. The Jazz money line +240. Sexton over 18.5 points. Darryl on Sexton over 1.5 threes -124 and the over 18.5 points. I'm on the Jazz +6.5 -109. And the 10-star play today from Rod Zawacki is the Timberwolves first half. BJ's best bet, Grizzlies -2.5. The money line. Darryl on the Grizzlies -5. I'm on the Grizzlies first half -2.5. Full game -5. And wine time on the Magic -5, and I will take more looks at that. Wine time, fun having you on a Thursday. It was a great message to receive during the show, my friend. Thank you for rocking with us. Wine time will be back in business with us tomorrow, and we have a huge weekend ahead as he'll also be on the starting 5 as well and producing on the Who Bangin' Sports Network as well. Wine time, thank you so much for rocking with us. Please support Wine Time on X. Wine time, any last words for the Capper supporting the show?
Yeah, thanks for having me on, Jim. Thanks for having me on, Darryl. I was like, I know it's Darryl's show today, but I would love to get on there and cap with you guys, man. I've been wanting to do this with Darryl for quite some time.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's a blessing to do it, man. Can't wait to see you again in the essay, man, here in a couple months. And shout out to everyone in the chat, Rez Mob, Action Jackson, Rod Z, my guy right there, always coming in with some great trends. DC Capper, Slow Gems, Arsenal. BJ, Saturated, my guy, Nunya, Goron, LJ. He says, Wine Time is true gambler. Appreciate you, my guy. Nunya, everyone out there, man. Shout out to you guys. I love you guys. This community is great. You know, been touching on it the last couple hours here, but praying for all you guys going through tough times as always. And I can't wait to get back to work with you guys tomorrow. So let's go get that cash, boys.
I love it. There he is. Wine Time. Rod Zawacki, my favorite spot on the board in NHL is the Ottawa Senators. I also like the Flyers very much, but Ottawa is my favorite spot on the board here. Darryl, spectacular work last week. Didn't take you very long to get back.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right back in business. 6-2 last week. There was 2 big +140 bangers as well. So you are 0.44 units away from the black. The climb to 60% begins today, Darryl, my man. Thank you so much for rocking with us. I'm going to pop both Wine Time and Darryl's X handles here in the chat. Please support our guys. Darryl, my man, any last words for the Capper Sport in the show?
Yeah, man. Just kind of ditto what One Time said there. I would be happy to see you all, man, in March. Special shout out, man, to Riz and Saturated and LJ. Those brothers are really good brothers. Everybody in the chat is pretty dope. I was able to read some of the comments today, and you guys are still funny as hell from the first year that I started this shit. You guys are absolute clowns. But love and appreciate y'all. Jimmy, you are doing the Lord's work, my brother, man. You're keeping this alive, man. You're doing a damn good job. Where's Jose? Let's
get him on here. Jose. There he is.
Jose, good to see you, man. You are doing the Lord's work, brother. You are the man behind the scenes there. You do a damn good job. So let's take some shots when I get there.
Oh,
Sure, Reverend.
Hey, well, what happened to my Flying Chancla shirt?
I've got it for you when you get here.
Bullshit.
Got it for you, yeah.
Shit. Okay.
Come on,
All right.
Reverend.
Jimmy, Jose, appreciate y'all, man. I will see you on next week. Y'all be cool.
There's our guy, Darryl Rice. Jose, my friend, I got just annihilated in NBA yesterday. I was so confident in myself and what I was doing and just got destroyed. So hopefully it's a bounce back spot for me. And then I'm very close to the black. And I also took a little bit of extra joy when the Canucks won. A little bit of extra joy.
Yeah, I was tracking it for you. It was fun. By the way, I don't have Daryl's shirt. I don't know what size Daryl is. I have no fucking idea what size.
You're just lying to his face?
Yeah.
Man. Jesus.
Right as he left, I didn't tell you guys that.
Just
see?
lying to our friend's face.
Yeah, I've got it right here. I know exactly what size you are.
Jesus. We got to fix that, man. Just lying to our friend's face. Let's review all action here on the card. I'll start with my NHL, then we'll go through Bobano's NHL. Being really confident in the card does not mean anything. Does not help even. But I'm really confident in this card. I got the bad line on the Flyers, but I love the Senators. My favorite spot on the board. Flyers I really like. I'm on the Blackhawks first period plus a half minus 105. I thought I got that minus 110. That's beautiful. Minus 105 for that. Gorgeous. Minus 105 on the first period plus a half. Winnipeg Boston under 5.5 minus 110. Flyers first period plus 101. I also have the money line minus 110. That line went heavily against me. Ducks money line at plus 156. Let's take a look and see what the Ducks are. Yeah, should have waited on that one.
By the way, I think Daryl has confirmed a new nickname. He's now forever the Reverend.
Reverend. Yeah.
Reverend Darryl Rice, yeah.
Reverend Darryl. Oilers minus 1.5 minus 102, and the Kraken minus 1 at minus 125. 8 bets for me in NHL. Nothing being added here on this one. I hope so, DC Capper. I'm right there with you. Saturday says, what do you think of that Bedard goal here? Yeah, I don't know. I haven't been following Bedard that closely, and I would need to study that a little more. Rick J says, are there any contests to sign up for? Next contest for us, March Madness. March Madness will be our next big contest, my man.
Did you see it? By the way, we haven't talked about the confidence pool. Did you see he's going to win it? Probably.
Yes, it sucks so much being in fourth and having no chance of catching the top 3. It sucks so much.
Yeah.
But yes, a young man named Pistol Pete Loshak.
Yeah. Shout out to Pistol Pete Loshak, who, by the way, got his phone back today, apparently.
Yes, I received that message as well. It's good. Good to receive it. Let's go over action here from everybody in the chat. Stacks play today. Number 1 for Justin, Cavaliers minus 10.5. Number 2, Nebraska plus 4.5, which I'm very interested in joining him on Nebraska. Very. Brown Crawford, NBA play today is Portland. In NHL, it's Tampa Bay. And in NCAA, it's Seattle U. Strategic investments, Chuck Bedore play today. Islanders fading Fedotov. I just stand up for this guy so hard. Penn State minus 2.5 is the taint play of the day. And the bookie buster play of the day, Georgia State plus 6.5 first half.
Bobano, by the way, is on your line of thinking, Jimmy.
Yeah. No, I believe him. I have to believe him. Right? At some point, you have to be like, look, if I'm going to be friends with this guy for the rest of my life, you have to give them the benefit of the doubt, right? Bobano, team total under 2.5. Plus 102 for the Boston Bruins. That's such a fishy line there. Oh, sorry, saturated. My bad. Sorry. Bobano is on the Wild money line. No fear that line's moving so heavy against him. It's very strange. And the Rusty Kuntz out of retirement. Look at that.
Wow.
Rusty Kuntz.
Let me see if I can dust off the archives.
Rodswag says, bet on Philadelphia home games on the money line after division game. They're 5-0 this year. Yeah, I do not care. And Rodswag on Boston money line. I get that totally, Rod. It's such a fishy line. But Philly Eagle Fire on that team total under 2.5. I don't care that the Flyers are 1-9 on the second half back-to-backs. Tell me how many first legs of those back-to-backs they lose 5-0. I think it's a good spot here. Excuse me. Surf and Turf is Timberwolves money line and Blazers plus 5.5. That's at plus 184 for Surf and Turf. Let me copy and paste that. Bobano is on the draw. These draws have not been going well for Ian on our show. He's cashed 1. So I want to give it a more sample size because he's only here on Thursdays before we push it. But they've not been going well. But he can get them here. He's on the draw in Capitals, Senators. He's on the over 1.5 first period in Kings, Lightning, and the over 5.5. He's also on the draw there plus 326. He's on Teuvo Teravainen goal at plus 475. Blackhawks first period team total over 0.5 minus 104, and he's on the over 1.5 minus 130 and the over 5.5 minus 135. I love Blackhawks first period plus 0.5. Now Carolina could be up 3-0 at the end of the first, and we know that. I'd be just interested to see what it's at right now. This line's not moving to Carolina. Did it move at all here? This first period spot? No, it has not moved. Then we have a Bobano on the first period over 1.5 in Islanders Philadelphia and the over 5.5 as well. I'm on the Flyers first period and full game. I'm on the Ducks money line. And Bobano's on the over first period 1.5 in Detroit Edmonton, the over 6.5 and Wings first period team total over 0.5. I am on the Edmonton Oilers here minus 1.5 and a little bullish on it, to be honest, too. Rod's wacky on the Blackhawks plus 1.5. I like it. And then Bobano is on the Jackets plus 265. He's got a lot of big dogs. I hope he gets some of them, man. I'm on the Kraken minus 1. I love it. With all the injuries and issues for San Jose down the middle, I love it. Seattle off a loss. You're going to get accountability. Bobano on the first period over 1.5 and the over 6. Morgan Spooners on Campbell Moneyline, Hampton and Mercyhurst. Respect play days, Liberty minus 1.5. Rogue Energy on Nebraska, Oregon, Indianapolis, Tulane, IPFW. Billy Friedrich on Maine, Marshall, UNC, Wilmington, Idaho, Seattle, Kennesaw State, Cleveland State, and Oregon. The Pigmill play days, Detroit and Mercy. Strategic Investments, Chuck Theodore play day, Georgia State plus 6.5 first half. Blackthorn King on Mercyhurst plus 3. Scuttbag play days, Delaware Moneyline. And Bobano is on Penn State money line. We talked about Taint being on them. He's on the over 146.5, minus 114 in Youngstown State. I feel like I have to bet Wright State. This line is just absolutely ludicrous. I mean, I want to see where it goes. I plan to be on the Blue Hens as well, getting right ahead, go right into the teeth of the Towson Tigers. Bobano on Middle Tennessee minus 6.5. I might take them first half. I do want the line to move towards them. North Dakota State money line for Bobano in the over 154.5. Scuttbag put them together as an SGP. I'm on Kennesaw State. So is Bobano with a much better line than me. Kong's clips on IPFW. I plan to be on them as well. We stayed off Portland State, Montana, but Bobano on the over 148.5 in Cleveland State, IPFW. Troy Torrance is on Penn State, Illinois, William & Mary, UTEP, Kennesaw State, and Tulane. I'm going to be on the UC Davis Aggies. Bobano on Illinois with Daby Cab going up against our guy, Justin McKelvey. I'm interested in backing Justin McKelvey in that one. Bobano on Tulane plus 6.5 minus 105. He's on Oregon plus 4.5 minus 110. The wine time's on the over 141 in Oregon, UCLA. And the Clark Edge play of the day is Portland State plus 3.5. I'm going to go over all of these spots. That is our action here on the show. And we must race. We must race quickly because I got to go pick up Ella Ola. So I got to, so let's race.
Sure. I'll tell you this while this is happening as well, Jimmy. I have a future and something that I'd like to give out to everyone as well, given to me by an expert. But let's race these camels as we begin. TJ's in the league. Jimmy, the Six Nations Rugby starts tomorrow, Jimmy. Six Nations Rugby, France to win it, plus 170. It's a max bet for me. I bet it this morning. Plus 170 here, given to me by my trusted Rugsby expert. Matty Ice is in the lead. There goes Nunya falling back, and Top sets up there as well. But France plus 170, my look in the Rugby Six Nations, Jimmy. Max
I was good enough not to write that down. Also, Jose, Rez Mob making a huge move, as is Ricky, Bobby, and J Dub and Kong's clips on the outside. Julian Cesario on the inside. Sir Mackey loves pie, trying to get home with it. Can Kent Davies come? Here comes Jay Peasy. Jay Peasy's camel is flying. Can his neck get there? Can JPZ get there? JPZ 1 step, 2 step, and there he goes. He's got the lead. 2 more steps to the wire, and JPZ gets paid in full.
That's a hell of a camel right there.
T-Moss. JPZ getting all the cake. All of it there. Nice job, Peasy. Please let JPZ know that he is got $50 to pad his bankroll. Thank you guys so much. I've got to run and get Ella. So we got to put a bow on the show. Blackdoor King, Zoe Faye, Jermaine, Nasty, Nate, Action, Jackson, Saturated, Rem, Most, Turnsy. Love that Rusty Coots being mentioned once again. Rod's Wacky, great having you rocking with us. Rick J, Thomas Maggio, the Sweaty Butcher, Surf and Turf in a Business, Philly Eagle Flyer. Thank you for rocking, my man. Rez Mob, we got Respect Play of the Day. Dr. Boobies joining us as well. Joey Marinaccio, the Dapper Capper, the Juice, Rem Most, Kelly McInnes. Thank you guys so much. Slow Jams, Arsenal, Gorky, thank you for the dono. LJ from H-Town, Nunya. Thank you guys so much. Let's go get that cash, man. I sweep the board in NHL, which would make me feel so good, but of course NBA got me right in the back, right in the heart of the khakis, right in the back, right in the old bottom mouth, right in ye old food pussy.
Mm-hmm.
Got me right in the chocolate starfish, Jose.
The food pussy. Yeah.
It was a tough loss.
That's my favorite one of all of those.
It is nice. Yeah, it is. It's not used. You don't hear many people.
Yeah, you're the only person I've heard say food pussy, and it makes a whole lot of sense, obviously.
Makes a ton of sense.
Yeah.
Jose, my friend, great to see you. Can you please lead us into the future, my friend?
Yes. Good luck, everyone. Again, France to win the Six Nations Rugby plus 170. Going to win.
Prison Pocket is good. Sweaty Butcher like in Prison Pocket. Prison Pocket is really good.
It's also
really good.
Yes, it's descriptive without saying too much.
Yeah, it's no coarse language. It's like bothering somebody being real. It's like when an old woman bothers you and you say, "You know what, sir? I'm not in the mood for this." Or, "You know what, mister? I'm not in the mood for this." You're not saying anything horrible, and you've gotten in their head and you've messed with them in a huge way.
Yeah, one of those old Buddhist, people were walking around Vegas giving out their beads. I should have said that to one of the really old ladies. No, sir.
No, that's not. You don't. Why are you picking on old Buddhist women?
Because they keep trying to give you your beads. They won't leave you alone. They're insistent. You would have won a
bet in Vegas if you had those beads around your neck.
That's true. If it wasn't for Patrick Mahomes, they'd be in a fucking ditch somewhere. And God bless him. And God bless you, Josh Allen, because you have a tough offseason ahead of you. But let's get some money and let's go pick up Ella. Leche y los bookmakers.